Every time he takes off with the football, he's thrown for 10 TDs. He's been intercepted 5 times this year. It's a 6-footer and 205 pounds. Brinson and Bell will be back as the Huskers will receive. Iowa State has taken the wind. The wind, remember now, is blowing into the face of the guys you're looking at. And there's the kicker.
And Joe, Coach Walden has done some screwy things to start ball games. I call him screwy, maybe not screwy. He's taking a lot of chances. You can't tell whether he's not going to set this ball up and onside the first thing he does. But I guarantee you, sometime during the ball game, we will see some wacky calls from Walden.
You folks in the Council Bluffs area, looking at a fellow you've seen him many times, Jeff Shudak, who has not missed an extra point try in his whole career at Iowa State so far. Good kicker. We were watching him earlier. He was booting them home from 60 yards in field goal practice. They're going to have to hold it on the tee. So Shudak will kick off with Brinson and Bell deep. We're ready to play football at Jack Trice Field. We're going to carry down. That's Brinson. Goal line. The 10. He's at the 25 to the 30 on his feet. About the 37-yard line is Dana Brinson. There's some help from his teammates. Finally knocked down by Johnson. Here it is again.
Here it is again, John. This should really set up the Nebraska offense with what they needed. They needed to get out long enough that they didn't have to worry about their own end zone and they can run their plays. And now Tom Osborne can do about what he wants to, Joe.
First and 10 Huskers at about the 37-yard line. That's Ken Clark in the I-back spot. Carpenter in front of him off the right side. About the 42-yard line, a gain of around 5. Clark stopped by Don Edwards out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 6'3", 230. Iowa State defensively is not the biggest line they've looked at. Edwards is at 230. Patton, their senior, right next to him at 240. On the ends, Mark Foley at 226, and Byrne is 260. We've got it Milligan at tight end, Morgan Gregory, wide receiver the other way.
We had a penalty here too, Joe. Iowa State was offside, so Nebraska chose to take the penalty and still keep it first down.
Got Sledge and Keeler along with Nelson, Glazer, and Young up front. There's your offensive line, fellas who we're talking about. Steve Taylor at quarterback. Goes back, gives it to Clark, comes left. Runs out of a tackle up to the 43-yard line. Huskers are going to need to get across the 46 to pick up the first down. Robert Lendino, the outside linebacker out of Fountain Valley, California, who is an all-conference player, is number 47, a junior college transfer. Look at the Cyclone defensive line. Left end is Foley. Tackle is Patton, Edwards, and Byrne to complete their front four. Senefro, Shane, and Hoskins, and Shane the leading tackler. Carruthers, Robertson, Dole, Baker in the deep secondary for the Cyclones. Second down, 3 to go after the penalty for the Huskers. Hand off to Clark. Got the first down. Midfield and 1 yard into Cyclone territory before Anthony Hoskins.
Joe, I don't believe you're going to see Nebraska do anything else as long as, of course, they're going into that wind, except do this if they can do it. They're just going to pitch the ball right, pitch the ball left, and the offensive line is doing a good job early. We don't have any big gains yet, but they're kind of feeling everybody out. But you see some very good blocks there by Sledge and by the tight end.
It's Hoskins, the outside linebacker, made the stop. First and 10 Huskers, 49-yard line of the Cyclones. That's Carpenter, who broke the game open last week with a quick opener, and he's over the 45 to about the 43 before Mike Shane brings it down. Boy, this Shane is a big player. As far as the bulwark of the Cyclone defense, he has 108 tackles to date. He's averaged 15 per game. Here it is again.
And you can see a little pull there by the offensive line. Nelson coming in and taking off the linebacker. He does get to the plate, but not before Nebraska picks up 5 yards, Joe.
Second down. About 4 for the first down. Clark again, fumble. Got it. Kenny dove on it and picked it up at about the 44-yard line. It's going to leave him 5 yards short of the first down. First third down situation for the Huskers.
And you don't want to see that today. You don't want to see that dropism as we had last week. Tom Osborne said he thought it was catching, and that's the first time really that we've had anything that wasn't a straight handoff. A little pitch out there, and he couldn't quite hold on to it.
Coming in is Nate Turner, number 22, bringing the play in. We've got 2 tight ends. Monty Kratzenstein, number 85. That's Turner sitting top of your screen. Milliken is the other tight end. Third, and they'll call it 6 on the scoreboard to see. Clark runs in to look like his own man and an Iowa State defender. And the Huskers now at the 42-yard line. Mike Shane was at the bottom of the stack for the Cyclones. Had their first big decision. Do they punt into the wind? We played 2.5 minutes.
They're going to punt it, Joe. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But great penetration there by the defensive line. As you say, the replay here, they really get in deep on the first man, and he has to go around him and then runs right into Shane. A great tackle there. He really put him down with a lot of force, and they've got the first big break.
John Croker back on his own 42-yard line. Has a lot of time. Line drives it. They signal fair catch at the 18. That's Robertson. Make it Charlie Vondra who makes the catch. Fair catch, and Iowa State will have its first possession. There's the coach, Dr. Tom, on the sidelines.
This guy is always worried, Joe.
Atlas on a day like today.
You know, I did a little talking to him about that on the sideline in the Tom Osborne show last week about his involvement, his cheering, his, you know, going up. And he's working all the time, Joe. He's got that headset on. He's not like a lot of head coaches who don't work with the headset on. He's working constantly during the ball game, so he's involved.
Smack Bush going in motion right side to the left side as the Cyclone offense was kept around Jim Walden until the last minute. Coming up the center is Joe Henderson. Short yardage before Brad Thomas brings him down. Couple of yards. Henderson, number 33, and Kurt Warren, number 40, the running backs. That was Warren out of Midwest City, Oklahoma. They're both seniors.
And Joe, Iowa State has done what they wanted to on the first drive. What they want to do as this ball game goes along is shorten the ball game. Every time they can get a possession without Nebraska scoring, they've shortened the ball game and they have a better chance to win it. So they were successful on their first defensive stand.
Double flanker right, one to the left. In motion is Glotfeldy, number 81. Oberg back to throw. Gets chased, gets caught, gets dropped.
And Joe, that will shorten quarterbacks. So that type of rush, they keep hammering him like that, and he'll be about 5'6" before this ball game is over. A great rush by Nebraska. You
number 91. Kent Wells was the first guy in. Watch him. Here's 91 coming in.
Right down he goes. Wells just goes over the top and sort of slides by.
Oberg is 6'2", 190-pounder who's thrown 6 TD passes this year. Threw 3 of them against Missouri. Again, one back behind Oberg as he's got flankers both ways. Huskers in the 4-man set. Oberg may be checking off.
He didn't get it off, Joe. I think he checked off twice there. He went to one play. Nebraska checked out of their defense, moved into another one, and he tried to check off to another play, and they weren't able to get it off. So this is going to put them 5 yards farther back downfield. It's going to be real difficult, even though they have the wind, to throw the ball deep anywhere over 15 yards into this wind. You can't tell what the ball is going to do. And, of course, they have to throw it farther downfield to pick up their first down. And now we got a wholesale change here. What's he going to do? Punt on 3rd down?
Looks like it. That's Judge Johnston standing 2 yards deep in his end zone. Huskers hurriedly get back around midfield. 3rd and 18 for the Cyclones. Now they're going to run up and put a man in motion. They're not going to punt. Got 3 wide receivers. They throw over the middle. It is dropped. They were going over the middle to Eddie Brown, their flanker back. That is exactly what you were talking about as far as Jim Walden will show you something that you've never seen before and may never see again.
This will not be the only thing that Wacky Walden will do during the ball game. I'll tell you that. He'll have a lot more of these. But this time, Joe, you kind of think he's going to punt this time, right?
4th and 18, and back in his end zone is Johnston. That was Mike Kroll that made the stop and hit the receiver about the time he made connections with the football.
The Nebraska deep guys, Joe, are 60 yards downfield. That's how this wind, they think, are going to carry this football.
Derek DeGennaro is the backup quarterback who was in doing the signal calling, but they've got Johnston deep. Huskers now bring a man up short. Long punt. Carries over Brinson's head, gets an Iowa State bounce. That's got to be one of the longest in the country, I would think, this year. Rolls out inside the 10.
What a great break for Iowa State right off the bat. Now that ball, when it comes down, because it is oblong and funny shape, can bounce anyway. And what it did, Joe, is it bounced right on the right type of the ball and went to Iowa State's favor.
Gonna help
so far,
Johnson.
we're keeping Iowa State in this ball game. That is, Nebraska is. Everything is going their way.
That was a 90-yard punt. His longest to date, 57 yards. He'd been averaging 39 yards on 45 kicks. So the Huskers have it back, but not with the field position they'd hoped. Brinson thought he had enough room, and it just went over his head and took an Iowa State roll.
Now we have the first timeout in the ball game, Joe, and we'll be right back. Just a moment with more from Nebraska and Iowa State.
From the fast lane, advanced trauma care provided by the University of Nebraska Medical Center and SkyMed Emergency Air Transport.
We live in a fast-paced, hectic world. Seems everybody's doing their best to keep up. But a discerning few still know when to slow down. Those who take the time necessary to appreciate the premium quality of Village Inn pie. When dessert's this good, one can't be rushed. Village Inn pie. Pick one up to go, but eat it slow.
Rather short time out. The Huskers got off one play. Kenny Carr going to the outside. Shoved out of bounds by Alan Patton after a 3-yard gain. Here it is again.
Just one play before we got back, Joe, and he picked up about 5 yards. Now we come back to live action.
That's Carpenter at fullback. Carpenter in front of Ken Clark, behind Steve Taylor. Handoff to Carpenter. Breaks over the left side. First down, and he's out to the 27. Been a good play for Brian Carpenter. He ran for a touchdown a week ago. Tim Baker, the free safety, made the stop. Number 29, his home's Grundy Center, Iowa. Coach Tom with Dana Brinson standing beside. They're probably talking about the depth of play on a punt downwind.
You don't let that punt get over your head, but of course with this wind, it's hard not to have that happen, Joe.
First and 10 Huskers. Their own 27-yard line, open field to the left. Morgan Gregory flanked that way. Taylor on the run. Had no place to go. The 24-yard line. Chased by Anthony Hoskins. He is dropped.
Joe, you said it perfectly. No place to go. He couldn't pitch the ball. He couldn't reverse his field, and he couldn't go forward. So Taylor did about what he could, and that's just lay down with the ball.
Guy you're looking at, number 45, is an outstanding linebacker, and yet at 6'2", 216, not one of the bigger ones around. That's Mike Shane out of Sweetser, Indiana. Brinson is the flanker to the right side. 2nd and 12 Huskers. Brinson in motion back toward the middle. Hand off to Clark. About the 28-yard line. He got back what was lost in the first place, so the Huskers are going to be up in about 3rd and 10.
And you might think, Joe, this would be the first passing situation for Nebraska where they'd have to put it up. But, of course, Tom Osborne feels that in these particular situations that that's a gamble, and he just might go with the draw or something else, a little reverse, to pick it up on the ground.
Huskers have flankers both ways. Morgan Gregory to the bottom of your screen. In motion is Clark. Somebody move. Let's see who. Flag is down, and was it encroachment or was it offside?
That one was really hard to see. Iowa State's motioning in the other direction, so it must have been a Nebraska player moving, Joe. Of course, all that takes is just to lift the hand or lift the shoulder or lift the head a little bit. Just a little bit of movement by the offensive line. And as you can see it here, right there, a little bit more than a little bit of movement. He was a whole count off there, Joe. But he moved. Nebraska, the defensive line came across. And, of course, that was a 5-yard penalty.
Snowfall is enough now to make them wipe the football off. It's placed down on the 23. Huskers would have to get to the 37 to pick up the first down. Iowa State puts 6 men up front. Nebraska flankers both ways and 2 wingbacks. A draw play to Taylor goes nowhere. Steve Taylor just smothered by everybody. Mark Foley was number 59, a sophomore out of Bedford, New Hampshire. And the Iowa State defensive unit trots off, having done a very good job.
Here comes the replay, and Foley comes right up the middle and doesn't quite get picked up by the offensive line before he gets to Steve Taylor. As I said, though, Nebraska wasn't going to throw the ball anyway, Joe. That was the quarterback draw, which they've been very successful with all year long. Now they have to punt into that wind.
Croker's back on his 7-yard line. Gets it away, line drive, and a pretty good spiral into the wind. Goes to the 35. Bounces ahead a couple of yards into the 35, gusting to 40-mile-an-hour wind. Marcus Robertson was back for Iowa State, and he lets it roll dead at the 33.
Joe, that was a tremendous kick into that wind. Exactly what Nebraska wanted to do. 46 yards into a very, very stiff wind, and he kept it low, but he got it just right. Just over the guy who was going to return its head and drop down. He could do nothing about it. And that's a great punt. It gives Nebraska better field position defensively than they should have had on that, Joe.
Brent Oberg with Joe Henderson and Curtis Warren behind him as the Cyclones take over their own 33-yard line. In motion, Henderson to the outside. Oberg on the draw, gives it off to Warren, finds some daylight. Fumble on the play, and who's got it? That was at the 47-yard line of Iowa State. Each team is pointing the other way. Let's see who.
It's going to be a wrestling match down there on the bottom. If those officials don't jump right in and get to the ball, you see one down there on the bottom. But I guarantee you, whoever had that ball originally is not going to end up with it when this pile is over. So they're going to have to say something. And the guy on the bottom of the pile, Joe, was strong enough to keep it.
Iowa State on top of the football, and they retain possession. We could see some. Here it is again. We see the ball come loose. That was a hit by Tim Jackson that jarred it loose. Tim out the safety spot. On top of it is Rich Moore, their right tackle. Senior out of Willows, California. Cyclones 1st and 10 at their own 47-yard line. Again, they've got Henderson and Warren. Pitch comes back to Henderson, comes right side, down to Nebraska's 45.
Joe, you talk about backs around the Big 8. Henderson is a quality back. He was made all Big 8 last year at that position. Comes back this year and has been just as strong this year as last year. He's a very good back and one of the players that Iowa State counts on for a lot of their offense.
He has almost had 400 straight games, or 4 games with 100 yards. He had 103 straight. He got 99 against Colorado in that loss last week. But he has been their most dependable guy. He's got 2,421 in his career so far. 2nd down and 3. Oberg with only one back behind him, and that is Henderson. Flankers both ways. Gives it off. They got the 1st down. Down near the Nebraska 42 before Leroy Etienne.
Joe, with only 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the quarter, I mentioned before that Iowa State wanted to shorten the ball game. And by that, I meant shorten the ball game every time Nebraska has the ball. If they don't score, they're getting closer and an opportunity to win. What Nebraska would like to do defensively here is shorten this quarter. Get out of this quarter, get the win behind them, and then they can go into their offense at full gear. Now we're going to have a chance to measure, Joe, and you've already called it. You said they had it, right?
They have got it unless they mark it back. Once in a while, you know, the penetration point is up for grabs. The defensive captain, of course, or the offensive captain can call for a measurement anytime he wants.
The eyes are still the same, Joe. You were only 6 inches there, and you were able to pick it up.
42-yard line of the Huskers, so Iowa State moves into Nebraska territory. Scoreless ball game, 6:23 to go. Brown going wide to the left side. In the slot that way is Dennis Ross. Ross, the top of your screen. In motion is Henderson. Handoff to Warren. Gets hit at the line of scrimmage. May have made a yard, possibly a bit more. Huskers not fooled on the draw. Leroy Etienne was the guy that was there, and there's Leroy.
What a hitter that guy is, Joe. I'm telling you, he can really hammer you, but of course that's been some of his problem this year, that he overruns some tackles because of his enthusiasm, because he's trying to hit so hard.
2nd and 9, a gain of a yard. Iowa State with Oberg over the football. In motion is Henderson. Looking, has time, throws it up in the air, intercepted by Fryer. He's at the 30-yard line, and flags go down all over the place, and that one might be a face mask.
It's got to be a face mask from the way we're battling. And, of course, that will give Nebraska maybe another 10, 15 yards. That interception, though, was just caused by the bat. As we're going to see on the replay here, it gets batted up into the air off the hands of the receiver, just a little bit behind him. Fryer picks it up, and, yeah, the first thing he grabs is the face mask, and he holds on a long time. So we're going to pick up another probably 5 yards. They're going to call that an inverted face mask, Joe.
That was thrown hard and high to Craig Mahoney. Craig is a sophomore, the tight end from Mason City, who was an All-Stater, Western Tribune first All-Stater. Mason City north of here, 6'3" and 228. Carpenter and Clark are back in. The officials now having not only to wipe off the football, but hold it in place as the wind gusts out of the open end, the north end of Jack Trice Field in Ames. Cold, blustery afternoon, 5:19 to go. Huskers first and 10 after the interception to Clark. Over the 40 to about the 41. Stacked up after a gain of about 5 yards.
And that's what we were talking about, Joe, in our pregame piece when we talked about Clark looking at video of Rozier running, and now he tries to pick his way better. He waits. Last year he would just bull in there and see what happened. You've got to wait for those big guys in the middle to set up the blocks. I know I'd wait for him anytime, Joe, especially at the dinner table.
Tackle by Tim Baker, who had a pretty good ball game against the Huskers last year with 8 tackles. He's a free safety, number 29. 2nd and 4. Taylor with a handoff to his fullback. Very short yardage. Carpenter grabbed by Don Edwards, number 43. The tackle on the right side for the Cyclones.
You see a play like that, Joe, in the first quarter, and you say, why is Nebraska running that type of play? Tom Osborne does a lot of searching, a lot of fishing to see what's going on in the defensive line. He might be running that play or another to set up a play later on in the ballgame.
Here's Power I for the first time, strong to the open field side. 3rd down and 3. Clark shakes loose from 1. He is very close to the first down, and if they give him where the ball comes down, he's got it. Robert Lendino, the outside linebacker on the left side, was the guy that made the stop. They're going to wave him ahead. Ray Carruthers, number 27, is up off the stack. There's Ken Clark back to the huddle. Clark in 8 rushes, 24 yards, averaging 3. He's had some big days this year. But a slow start today. Scoreless ball game with 3:48 to go opening quarter. The Power I the opposite way this time, and Taylor may be checking off. Iowa State with a 6-man front. Pitch back to Clark. Across the 50 to 45, a yard short of the first down.
Steve Taylor does that exceptional. In fact, Tom Osborne says that he does it probably better than any other quarterback he's had. Up at the line of scrimmage, being able to recognize a weakness in the defense of the opponent and check off. Now you see it here, Joe, as the check off, and then Nebraska pitches out, gets some good blocks out front, and Clark drives ahead. And we also have an Iowa State player, Edwards. It's a little bit shaken up on the play, Joe, and going off.
An official timeout to get him off the field. Don is a junior out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 6'3" and 230 pounds. He is a leading tackler among the down defensive linemen. He's got 52. Huskers 2nd down, a yard short of the first down. That's Morgan Gregory, bottom of just off your screen with the left. Taylor checking off. Gives it to Clark, looks for room, got the first down to the 40.
You don't see how Joe, that those guys can take that beating. You see Clark got bent back there every time. And every time he gets into that line of scrimmage, that's what's going to happen. Well, Steve Taylor almost lost the ball on the exchange there, but you watch him go into the line here. He gets hit high and then low, and watch him get bent back here. That's a lot of weight and pressure on a ball carry. I don't say they take it through the whole ball game, but they get tough in that weight room of Nebraska.
Number 75, Randy Byrne out of Spencer, Iowa, made the stop. 1st and 10, Cyclone 40. Fumble. Who's got it? Taylor says Nebraska. So does the official. as they unstack. The white jersey at the bottom.
The guy that was supposed to have the ball to start with, Carpenter. And, of course, that was that new play, Joe, that they put in this year, or at least the new version of the play, where they do a lot of motion in the backfield. It looks like they're going to run a reverse, but instead they hand it off to Clark up the middle. That was the play that broke for big yardage in the Missouri ball game last week.
2:07 to go. Huskers now 2nd and 11. Comes Clark in motion. Taylor looks at him, throws to him. He's got it. Bounces off. Out of bounds at around the 35, 5 yards short of the first down. Shoved out by Anthony Hoskins, number 49, the outside linebacker. So Clark went up high for the catch, shook the first tackle, and got to the 35. Look at it again.
It looked like, Joe, that the ball was going to be overthrown when it was first went out, but Clark went up and got it. He really bounced off the tackle there and really surprised him. The tackler thought he was going to bounce him out of bounds, and Clark went on downfield.
That was Carruthers, the right cornerback, who had the first shot at him. 3rd and 5 at the 35. Taylor with a pitch to Clark. Got the first down. The 20, the 15, knocked out of bounds. Mark Foley, the left end, number 59 for the Cyclones.
Joe, that really was a great example of the different Clark that we have this year rather than last year. You watch him here, wait for his blockers to do the job, wait for everybody else to do their job, and then pick up the lane and carry it on downfield. He's a much different ball carrier, a more complete ball carrier than just sheer power and speed of last year.
Richard Bell, number 21, brings the play in. Power I strong to the right side. Huskers 1st and 10, just outside the 10. Taylor on the option goes to about the 9. Wrapped up as he tried to cut inside by Tim Baker, the free safety.
First flipped that ball out there on the option, Joe. You thought it was going to be a touchdown. It looked like Nebraska had it. Now let's go down to the sideline and see what Rich Roberts has to say about the field conditions or whatever, Rich.
Dan, we've seen the interceptions and the tipped interception, also the fumbles. The ball boys are trying to keep the balls warm. They put them in a bag. It's called dry ball. They shake them around there for a little bit, then put it back on the playing field. Let's go back up to the booth.
Morgan Gregory flanking, but the play comes to Clark, looking for some running room. He goes to the 6-yard line. Huskers could pick up a first down without getting the touchdown. The forward marker's on the 1. Robert Lindino made the stop, outside linebacker. We're less than a minute away from the end of the first quarter.
As you can just see, Rich, what Rich Roberts was talking about on the sideline there, Joe, is that they have to keep that ball warm, and they have a bag, what he was talking about, they put on the sideline. They also switch the ball on almost every down. You can imagine what shape that ball would be in the fourth quarter if it just stayed out there on the field the whole time.
Watch the official unwrap it from the towel and put it down right there. There's the power I again. 3rd and 5 for the Huskers. 6 for the touchdown. 5 for the first down. Taylor wants to throw. Throws his first pass. Touchdown. Milliken.
And who else would it be, Joe, but Milliken? Every time they throw the ball to him, it's a touchdown. That's 7 touchdowns this year and 15 receptions. Incredible that he gets open on that. But what causes that? I talked about Tom Osborne setting something else up with this play. Remember 2 plays ago, they ran the option to this side, and then he drops back, throws it to Milliken, who's cleared. What sets that up is the time before on this exact same action, Milliken blocked down. This time he released, went into the end zone.
Brennan's kick is up, and it's 7-0. Make it Berrios. Greg Berrios, number 44. His turn. So the Huskers, with only 7 seconds remaining in the opening quarter, get 7 points on the board. They lead the Cyclones 7-0. We'll be right back live to Ames, Iowa, and the Nebraska-Iowa State game.
Look, this is your house. There's money in here you could use to get other stuff. Cars, boats, you know. First National Bank of Omaha can help you get your hands on some of it with First Equity Line, a revolving line of credit with low tax-deductible interest. First Equity Line. You might find more money in here than you'd think. First National Bank of Omaha. No wonder they call us First.
The National Council of Senior Citizens is dedicated to preserving Social Security and Medicare. That's why Gerald Schenken's testimony before Congress is so disturbing. His proposal for Medicare vouchers would undermine the financial stability of the program, raise costs for seniors, and even threaten Medicare's very existence. Peter Hoagland, on the other hand, strongly supports Medicare. We urge you to vote for him on November 8th.
Ice on that camera, but I wouldn't want to be up there in his position. He's really into the wind, as Nebraska's going to have to kick off into the wind right now.
And here comes Drennan. Iowa State going to follow the ball at the 35-yard line. It's a shot from our end zone camera. A looping kick that Iowa State elected just to cover. The clock will not take off any more seconds until the official's arm goes down. It was Chad Welding on top of it.
Now look at the touchdown again here on slow motion replay, and as you tell me that he's releasing into the end zone, and Steve Taylor makes it look like it's going to be a run and then throws the ball.
Last play of the first quarter coming up. It's Oberg, number 16 at cornerback. Henderson and Warren behind him. Pitch comes back. Henderson goes into the middle. Couple of yards. First quarter is history. So after one period on a snowy, blowy day, cold, blustery winds, but the Huskers got in 7 seconds before the first quarter came to an end and lead after one quarter, 7-0 over Iowa State. We'll be right back live to Ames, Nebraska and Iowa State. After this moment out, is 7-0 Nebraska.
If you're thinking about a new truck, think Ford first.
Getting traction, seeing action. Acting tough, playing rough, climbing steep, swimming deep, getting there.
Right now, it's Ford Truck Month with big savings on America's best-built, best-selling trucks. Save over $1,700 on Ranger, America's #1 compact truck, or save over $2,500 on Bronco 2. Think Ford first during Truck Month. See your local Ford dealer today. Quality people, quality products.
There's a good reason Peter Hoagland's supporting Michael Dukakis for president. They think alike. Michael Dukakis is soft on crime, and Peter Hoagland has voted to repeal the death penalty. Michael Dukakis supports a tax increase, and Peter Hoagland has voted 33 times to increase taxes or oppose tax cuts. Michael Dukakis opposes a balanced budget amendment, and so does Peter Hoagland. Michael Dukakis and Peter Hoagland, they're a team we can live without. Elect Jerry Schenken to Congress.
Live in Ames, Iowa. Huskers lead at 7-0. Iowa State puts the ball in play at their 39-yard line. Oberg at quarterback, Henderson and Warren. Behind him, Henderson now with flankers both ways, and Oberg maybe checking off. Gives it off up the middle. Henderson across the 40 to the 45, the 46-yard line. Joe Henderson is a do-everything guy, and Lawrence Pete out of Wichita, 6'1" and 270, number 96. Makes the stop.
That's very close to the first down, Joe. They'll probably have to bring the flags in and measure it here, but it's extremely close.
Huskers had 6 first downs to the Cyclones 2. On the ground, 83 yards to 25. Steve Taylor, a pass to Clark, and the touchdown strike that went to Milliken is 2 for 2 on the day. A total of 95 yards for Nebraska. Iowa State had 25 all on the ground. They threw 2 passes, 1 intercepted, the other incomplete. In 2 punts, the Huskers averaged 35, and in 1 punt, Iowa State averaged 80 yards. That long one that, with the wind behind it, got over Brinson's head. And the Cyclones, 1st and 10. Brown in motion to the opposite side, the short side. Oberg with a pitch back to Henderson. Changed his mind, gets very close to midfield, a gain of about 4. There you see it, 5-2, rushing yards 12. 85 total yards, 97 total yards for the Huskers to 22. 2 for 2 in pass completions, 1 penalty against the Huskers for 5. The Cyclones took 3 for 15. So it's 7-0 on the scoreboard as Iowa State breaks the huddle, 2nd and 6. The ball right at midfield, squarely on the midfield mark. In motion is Glockfeldy going to the opposite side. Hand off to Henderson, no gain. That's the line of scrimmage, and that was it.
Yeah, they were spreading them out there, Joe, and then put a guy in motion, and they're going to try to run back up the middle, and Leroy Etienne stayed at home, didn't take all of that motion, and made the tackle. Very strong play there by Nebraska's defensive line and their linebackers.
Not surprising from Leroy. It was a top tackler last year with 75, and in that Oklahoma game, you may remember, he had 15. Iowa State, 3rd down and 6. Big 3rd down play for the Cyclones, down 7-0. Nebraska's 49. Again, Glockfeldy in motion. Flip goes back, and Henderson with no place to go has to scramble and can't get back to the line of scrimmage.
That's just the quarterback's problem there. It's a little pushing and shoving. Of course, Thomas is always telling somebody something after every play. And he was telling them there. You see the replay here. It's just the pitch, Joe. The pitch is kind of like a delayed pitch, a hesitation. He doesn't get the ball to him, and then he's got no place to go. And Thomas has got him there, and he's saying, I told you so, or something.
Broderick sorting through people till he found the one with the ball, and he kept him. 4th and 9. Cyclones will have to boot for the first time into the wind. That's Judge Johnston back on his 33-yard line. Huskers have Brinson deep. Bell, the short man. Low driving kick. Bell watches it. They'll let it go, and it goes down to around the 22, 23-yard line. Mike Bush downs it for the Cyclones, number 85, and so the Huskers leading 7-0. Not quite 3 minutes into the second period, will take over once again.
Well, the punters have done an extremely good job, Joe, so far here, a 31-yard punt. But all 4 of the punts that we've had in this ballgame have been very good. Nobody's put it very high up in the air yet where it had a chance to hang or to flop around. And, of course, the guys don't want anything to do with it. And Joe, now we have a timeout before Nebraska takes its next possession, and we'll be back to Ames, Iowa in just a moment with the score: Nebraska 7, the Cyclones nothing.
Sizzler changed some things.
Yeah, they have changed some things.
I like it here. Sizzler steak and all you can eat shrimp.
Oh, look at those shrimp, Jody. Come on now, eat up. You too. Jody, is your plate still full? I guess so. Come on, honey.
Steak and all you can eat shrimp.
Sweetie, just do one for Mommy.
Proof there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. Sizzler.
Pardon me, miss, but what are you doing?
I'm a student at Metro Community College.
But what are you doing?
It's my grandmother's birthday, and she loves Pelargonium hordeum, geraniums.
How about you?
Me? I'm making chicken cacciatore. The trick is learning how to catch a tory.
And you, what are you doing?
Making it go faster.
But if you're students, why aren't you in class?
But we are in class.
Pull up a chair, or whatever, in one of the many classrooms at Metro Community College. Enroll now.
Back at Ames, another very short timeout up the middle. Huskers with Clark carrying, goes for 2 yards, stopped by Don Edwards. There it is again. Second and they gave him 4 yards on the play. 2nd and 6. Huskers with the wind at their back. Taylor the option for 30. 35, knocked out at the 37. Tim Baker, the free safety, pushed him out of bounds. But Steve had enough for the first down. And for the Huskers, their 7th first down of the day, with 11:36 to go in the first half.
And Joe, really, I don't think Tom Osborne would have asked for anything better than this. This is exactly what he wanted, to be able to control the ball on the ground, and then controlling it so much on the ground when Steve Taylor tries to throw short. He's done a good job, 2 for 2. So it's going exactly along the lines of the play.
Bell is just off your screen to the top. Morgan Gregory to the right side. Huskers have thrown 2 passes, completed both, once for a touchdown. This one to Clark. The 40, the 45, the 50, stays on his feet at the 40. That's the 35-yard line. Boy, let's look at this one again and count the number of people that had a shot at it. It is really something. They just bowled through that line and did a great job. We're going to look at it from the end zone and see it again. And you see Nebraska's offensive line pick up the blocks. He jumps over a guy, but then, the guys that miss him,
3, 4, and it takes 4 guys to take him down. This is really something. Another angle of the replay. You see the blocks at the line of scrimmage, and then he's just going to run over people here. That's power. You can't tackle him with those arm tackles. You got to wrap him up or get a herd of people like they've got there.
Ken Clark was recruited by Iowa State. Huskers in the power I formation. Open field side. Hand off to Carpenter, nothing. Maybe a yard. From the 36 to the 35. There's Brian Carpenter slants in, and inside linebacker Mike Shane brings it down.
You can see here on the replay, he almost lost the ball from the center again, and Steve Taylor had checked off and checked to this play. Now, every time he checks off, as we were talking about before, does the play work, and most certainly that time the checkoff did not work.
This Shane is a tough player. Made 15 tackles against Colorado a week ago, the top tackler on the whole ball club. Clark in motion this time. Handoff coming outside, goes to Carpenter, or to Richard Bell on the first carry by a wingback today. Jeff Dole, strong safety, number 41 out of Grundy Center, Iowa. The leading tackler in the deep secondary, makes the stop. Richard Bell out of Altadena, California. Excellent athlete.
We got a player down on the field. Joe, we'll take an opportunity at this time with that player down to go to a break, and we'll be back to Ames, Iowa with the score. Nebraska 7, the Cyclones nothing.
Personal financial management begins at the end of the nearest rainbow. With super checking from First Federal Lincoln, your money earns interest. Your money is accessible 24 hours a day. Across the state at ATMs with the blue and white N, around the country at Cirrus ATMs. Your money is afforded a number of options like Visa Plastic Check, telephone bill pay, discount brokerage. Your money is insured. Super checking, personal financial management from First Federal Lincoln.
Show off your excitement as a Husker fan with outfits from Husker Plus, Omaha's newest licensed manufacturer of Cornhusker merchandise. Husker Plus has items for Nebraska fans of all ages. With its large selection of clothes, accessories, and gifts, you're sure to find something for your favorite Big Red fan. And if you've got ideas of your own, ask Husker Plus may design an item specifically for you. So capture the Cornhusker spirit with accessories from Husker Plus, conveniently located in the Center Mall at 42nd and Center next to Yonkers.
Well, certainly defensively, and maybe on the whole squad, they can ill afford to lose Mike Shane, the inside linebacker, the leading tackler. Looked like a knee injury, and Mitch Roberts will have a report on the sideline in just a moment. Iowa State losing a key guy on the defense, and Tyrone Davis, number 58, a freshman of Houston, comes in to replace him at middle linebacker. Huskers 3rd down and 2 to go. Pitch to Clark, right side, he's got the first down to the 24. Don Edwards makes the stop, number 43.
Boy, that's extremely hard for anybody to stop. You see Milligan limping there a little bit. There's a little bit of article about him in some of the papers this week that almost every week going into the ball game, he has been injured. But he comes back and he plays in the ball game, and he plays great. He has a tremendous ability to play with pain. You can see him all wrapped up there, Joe. But he comes in every week and does a great job. And Ken Clark is already over 100 yards.
1st and 10. 24-yard line, Iowa State. Nebraska with a flanker to the open field side. The Clark comes to the right, down to around the 18-yard line before Don Edwards again makes the stop. Cyclones didn't give up a touchdown until only 7 seconds are left in the opening quarter. Here it is again.
Just going into that offensive line, and they're really taking over a lot quicker than I thought they were going to take over, Joe. I thought maybe it would take a whole half for them to be able to start dominating at the line of scrimmage, but they're knocking them off the line of scrimmage by 5 or 6 yards every time. And if this goes on, Ken Clark will have 200 yards before the day's over.
Keep in mind, you're watching number 32 run with a bad ankle. Top of the screen is Nate Turner. Pitch comes to Clark. He finds room at the 10, a 5, he's in. Unbelievable. This guy, one man doesn't stop him. And now, of course, without Shane, Iowa State really hurting because Shane was the guy picking him up in the middle. There's some of the Cyclone and Husker fans in red. The ones waving the yellow, the red flag, and doing the cheering are the Nebraska fans in the end zone. He ran right into them.
Really a beautiful run here. Pick it up on the replay, Joe, and you watch. We've talked about this a lot, but watch him pick his holes. He just sits back there and dances until he picks the hole, and then he gets around Sledge, and Sledge makes the last block and right on into the end zone. Extra point is good, Joe, and Nebraska is up 14-0.
Berrios hasn't missed one this year. He's 19 for 19. It becomes 14-0. 8:58 to go. Nebraska on top by 2 touchdowns at Ames. We'll be right back live to Ames, Iowa, and Nebraska, Iowa State. Huskers lead at 14-0.
I want to see one of the hardest working young senators in the entire Senate back there for a full 6-year term, and I'm talking about my friend of long standing, Dave Carnes. I think Nebraska will want a senator where it counts, on that agriculture committee fighting for Nebraska. And I think Dave Carnes is irreplaceable in the United States Senate.
Everybody needs someone or something to love. A goldfish or a rabbit or a gerbil or a dove. So if you're feeling lonely and need some company, get down to the Fishbowl Pet Center and buy a budgie. You're bound to love the things we feature. The Fishbowl Pet Center.
The Fishbowl Pet Centers, if you need someone to love.
Huskers leading 14-0. Grennan, with the ball being held on the tee, will kick it off. 8:58 to go in the first half. Ken Clark from 18 yards out. He's got 122 yards for the day, and Brennan's kick out of the end zone. Let's go to Rich Roberts for a report on Iowa State linebacker Mike Shane. Rich, on the sidelines, what do you got?
Joe, I was on the Iowa State sideline checking out the injury to Mike Shane. It looked like they were working on his left knee. Looked like a minor injury. He got up, he was walking around. Didn't seem to be anything major. I'm not sure if he's going to be back into this ballgame, but I would look for him because, as I said, it does not look to be a serious injury.
If you were watching on that replay, you saw that Clark, the only shot at him, really good shot, was by Shane's replacement, Tyrone Davis, who couldn't hold him at about the 5-yard line. And the Cyclones, Oberg with Rotfeldy in motion. Hand off to Henderson. Up to the middle. About 2 yards. John Marco, number 93, out of Bellevue, Nebraska, makes the stop for the Huskers.
We're going to see the touchdown again here, Joe. And it's just a great, great effort by Ken Clark. It's really an effort at the line of scrimmage, but then you see him dance and pick his holes, and the last guy, as you mentioned, the replacement, couldn't get him, and on into the end zone he goes.
2nd and 9 for Iowa State. Their own 20-yard line going into the wind. Checkoff count by Oberg. Flankers both ways. Fakes, runs the option. Nope, he's gave it away. Joe Henderson took it off the right side, up short of the 25-yard line, a gain of about 3. Iowa State with 3rd and relatively long. Brad Thomas and Leroy Etienne combined for the stop for the Huskers. There's what it looks like on the sidelines for the Cyclones. It's Jim Walden, their head coach in his 2nd year.
Joe, you wonder how long he will let this go before he really opens up also. You would think that he can't win this type of ball game and would have to do something else.
Iowa State, 3rd down and 5. Big 3rd down play as Oberg again maybe checking off. Now he calls a timeout. John Glotfeldy was in motion, but they called a timeout, and we'll take one with him. Right back live to Ames, Iowa, with Nebraska and Iowa State. 7:36 to go. The Huskers lead at 14-0 first half.
My family's always been a little reluctant to use anything new. But since I decided to try Appearance shampoo, it's caught on.
I didn't know what to expect. But Appearance pH-balanced shampoos make my hair easy to care for, and they smell great.
There's all kinds of neat flavors. We like them all, right, Bill?
Introduce your family to ours. Appearance Professional Shampoos. Professional quality products without the professional price.
The year is 1988, but at Baker's Deerfield Place, it seems like 2000. The supermarket of the future is here.
The Equalizer, Wednesday night at 8 on KM3. That's Henderson scrambling around, and he looked like he was trapped, and now he's very close to the first down. He's about a yard short. Up to the 29, he needed the 30. Henderson, who can run sideways faster than some people can go straight ahead, brought down by Reggie Cooper, the strong safety. A yard short of the first down, and the Cyclones again will have to punt into the wind. Judge Johnston comes out. He'll stand back about his 12-yard line. Huskers have Brinson back around their own 40-yard line. Remember, the wind gusting from left to right up to 40 miles an hour. That was an 80-yard punt, his longest of his career for Johnston, with the win in the first quarter.
We should see a return here, Joe, if Nebraska can just get underneath the ball and catch it before it hits the ground.
Low driving kick. Brinson takes it at his 41. Very close to midfield on the return. Brinson fielded the line drive, got about a 9-yard run back. Looks like there's a flag down on the play. I tell you, you throw that flag today and it's 5 yards downfield, so it is not necessarily where it comes down that the infraction occurred.
That was a 30-yard punt, Joe, and it looked like a pass, a line drive. Looks like cocked it up and fired it downfield. But we'll see what the penalty is here. I know Nebraska's going to take the ball if it's against them. And it is. Clip against Nebraska. They have offsetting penalties. We'll see what's going to happen here. We have motion against, or illegal procedure against Iowa State and a clip against Nebraska. So I guess the opportunity would to either play it over or take, Nebraska would have to take the penalty on the clip after they had returned the ball. So they're looking to the sideline right now saying what we're going to do. Coach Osborne is figuring out himself.
That's Bill Bobora out of Amarillo, the big guy talking with the referee. Bill is the backup tackle to John Nelson, or to the guard spot on the right side. And Tom and his coaches are huddling with the other official at the side. There you see him. There's Jim Walden looking in from the opposite side. So the conference is going on both ways, and it's going to be the Huskers football.
I'm sure what Walden didn't like there, the reason he's out on the field kind of working the officials, as the officials were over there huddled with Tom Osborne, almost trying to say, figure out what you want to do here, Tom, and then we'll call it. But they were just explaining the situation to Osborne, and it looks like it's exactly, as I said before, what was going to happen is Nebraska's going to take the ball, and then the 15-yard penalty for the clip after that.
Going to put it back to the 33-yard line for the Huskers, who have scored on a pass to Milliken and a sparkling run from 18 yards out by Kenny Clark. A couple of good drives, one of them into the wind with only 7 seconds to go in the opening quarter. And the other one downwind in the second period at 6:39 left in the first half. Gregory is off the screen to the left side as a flanker that way. Bell is in the slot. Taylor with a handoff up the middle to Lance Lewis now at fullback for the first time. Lewis out of Scott City, Kansas. Number 18, and also Tyrese Knox is in, I believe, for the first time at I-back. Tyrese has had some time at fullback, and Mike Shane, Iowa State fans, I'm sure are delighted, is back in the lineup at that middle linebacker spot, number 45. The leading tackler went out a little bit ago with a knee, and he's back in. 2nd and 5. Taylor. That's Tyrese across the 40. I believe he's about a yard short of the first down. Jeff Dole, strong safety, made the stop along with Bob Lendino, the outside linebacker, and that wind does not abate a bit. And it's becoming now enough snow that it might be a visibility factor. Before it was just a nuisance because it was blowing the ball around.
I guarantee it's going to be a nuisance for all these people in red going home tonight, Joe. If this stuff starts sticking to the highway, there's going to be a lot of trouble out there.
3rd down, 2 to go for the Huskers. That's Morgan Gregory flanking to the open field side. Taylor with a pitch back to Clark. He's got the first down. He's up almost to midfield to make it Tyrese Knox. Knox on his second carry gets it to the 49-yard line of the Huskers. There's Tyrese. Daly City, California is his home. He's only 5'10". He looks bigger than that.
See it on the replay, Joe, and they can do this almost at will now. Pick up 7 or 8 yards every time they pitch the ball right or pitch it left, And, of course, as long as Nebraska continues to do that, Tom's going to call that play. It's going to be very difficult for the Iowa State defense to stay in there.
We've got a timeout on the field. 5:17 to go in the first half of play. We'll be right back live to Ames, Iowa and Nebraska, Iowa State. Just a moment, the score. The Huskers 14, the Cyclones nothing.
We live in a fast-paced, hectic world. Seems everybody's doing their best to keep up. But a discerning few still know when to slow down. Those who take the time necessary to appreciate the premium quality of Village Inn pie. When dessert's this good, one can't be rushed. Village Inn pie. Pick one up to go, but eat it slow.
He was a straight-A student, never got into trouble, and he loved to help around the house. And then he started to change. Once I caught him stealing money from my purse. He began staying out late, and no matter what I tried, I just couldn't seem to get through to him. It was like he'd become a different person.
Alcohol and drug abuse is a disease, and it's potentially fatal. If your son or daughter has a problem, contact Mercy Chemical Dependency Services for a free, confidential evaluation. It's tough medicine, but it may be the only way you'll ever see your child live again.
Back live at Ames, Iowa. Huskers ball. They lead 14-0. Their own 49-yard line. Tyrese Knox at I-back. Lance Lewis at fullback. Power I strong to the right. Taylor fakes. Option play. 45, 40, 35. Cuts back. 28-yard line. And Anthony Hoskins, the outside linebacker, grabbed him by the shirt and drags him down.
What an athlete this guy is, Joe. Taylor is just remarkable. If you wanted to go anywhere in the country and start to build a football team, you might choose this fellow right here. He can throw the ball, and an awfully good runner, has tremendous agility and athletic ability, and goes on down the field and picks up a big chunk of yardage. When you get Clark and Taylor both going at you, it's extremely difficult to control.
His credentials are pretty good in high school. He broke Marcus Allen's school record, his high school in California. Tyrese Knox is a deep back. Taylor runs the option, cuts up. He's at the 20, the 15. Just made it.
Two big plays there, Joe, and he picks up about 45 yards at a chunk, and he's just so difficult to bring down. Talking about Clark using his blockers, he just weaves his way in behind him and goes on downfield. I'm telling you, look on the replay here, and you'll see him from ground level as he just keeps the ball out in front, weaving back and forth, setting up those big guys in front of him. You see the last block there by Monty, and he goes right on in for the touchdown.
Barrios trying for his third straight extra point. He's got it. And for the year, he's 20 for 20. And the Huskers lead it 21-0 with 4:46 to go. Some of the fans who have made the migration will be back in live at Ames, Iowa, Nebraska, Iowa State in a moment. The score, the Huskers 21, Iowa State nothing.
I watched them both being born. It was not long after I had gotten out of the hospital and the service, still plenty angry, and you know, my kids enabled me to feel absolute love again, where you just, you know, you see two little lives, and they're more important than you are. But really, I don't feel it as for the most part, a burden, except when they'll make their beds.
Bob Carey, Nebraska at its best, a personal profile.
Announcing Lincoln Mercury's factory-authorized 14-hour official public clearance sale.
Where?
Quality Lincoln Mercury, 6503 L Street.
When?
Saturday, September 24th from 9 to 6 p.m. and Sunday, September 25th from noon to 5.
Financing?
On the spot. Representatives of 7 financial institutions will be present.
What about trade-in?
Every trade-in will be accepted.
Exactly. What's on sale?
Brand new Lincolns and Mercuries, 3 Grand Marquis, 5 Sables, 17 Cougars, 14 Lincoln Town Cars, 75 used cars, plus 9 Continentals in stock. Don't you dare miss out.
Nebraska kicking off, carries about 3 yards deep in the end zone, and Johnston downs it for the Cyclones. He'll bring it out to the 20.
Here goes the replay on the scoring play, Joe. And Taylor just picks that hole, darts through it, and he's got 3 guys downfield. And you see Monty Constantine making the last block there, and he goes on in for the touchdown.
67-yard drive. It took 5 plays, consumed less than 2 minutes. Steve Taylor caps it from 28 yards out. Touchdown for Ken Clark, a touchdown for Milliken, and that one for the quarterback, Steve Taylor. Iowa State now with Oberg at quarterback. 1st and 10 from their 20. Fakes to Henderson, gets it to Henderson, a yard gain, and that was it.
And so far, Joe, the Iowa State coaching staff has not decided to open this ball game up. They're down 21-0, and as I say, they keep trading punts here and keep trying to run the ball against Nebraska. There's no way they can win it. But I don't think they're willing to open it up really until they get the wind back in the 3rd quarter. So they're going to stay pretty close to the running game. I don't think you're going to see anything funny for a while yet.
2nd and 9. Cyclones, and the snow comes down even harder, and the wind blows and swirls even stronger. Oberg at quarterback. Up the middle, handoff goes to Curtis Warren, and he's got maybe a yard, not much more than that, out to around the 22. Huskers unstacked. Kent Wells, number 91, out of Lincoln East, 285 and 6'5". Chris Caliendo, and if you were here earlier, you saw the feature on him. He's won that weak side linebacker spot from sophomore Pat Terrence. And between the two of them, that position's in pretty good hands.
It looks like Iowa State also, Joe, has just decided that they think they can run up the middle on Nebraska, and that's where they've been attacking, not coming to the outside at all.
Big 3rd down play for the Cyclones, 3rd and 6. Slotfeldy in motion. Oberg hands off on the draw, and Henderson goes nowhere. Joe Henderson smothered, never had a chance. That was Jeff Mills, number 42, out of Montclair, New Jersey, the right outside linebacker, first guy to him. So we've got a timeout with 3:11 to go in the 1st half.
We got a timeout, Joe. We're going to see the replay here of Broderick coming in. Broderick's going to come in, and he's just going to be standing there waiting on the ball carrier when he gets it. Ball carrier goes by him, and then Mills comes up and makes a very good tackle. Of course, Joe, Nebraska called timeout here.
Okay, we got a report from Rich Roberts. Let's go to the sidelines for it.
Well, it's you wonder how the guys are trying to keep warm down here. Well, they got these big coats on that they're wrapping themselves around, and some of the players also have some tights on. If you can see a shot of one of the players, the shot around his calf there, you can see that he has some tights on, trying to keep his legs warm, and also the big coat, trying to keep him all bundled up, trying to keep warm, and dancing around down here too. So anything they can do to keep warm, to keep their body going, to keep the heat going inside their body, to try to keep warm. And a very miserable, very cold afternoon of football here in Ames, Iowa. Joe and Dan?
Cyclones down 21-0 and have to give it up. 4th down and 8 to go, and Judge Johnston will be back at his 8-yard line to get it away, kicking into the wind. Number 19 back and forth. There's Derek DeGennaro. He's a senior quarterback. He's all over the field on the punts. Huskers have Brinson standing back just his own side of the 50. Low drive and kick, and the wind gets under. It's a good bounce for Iowa State. Comes up to midfield. Touchdown there by the Cyclones. So the Huskers will pick it up on their own 49-yard line after a 29-yard punt into the wind with 3:02 to go 1st half. Nebraska leads at 21-0, and there's Mr. Cornhusker braving the blizzard.
Yes, Joe. And I just want everybody to know that's watching the telecast that Rich Roberts and I had a big fight over whether I was going to be able to do sidelines or whether I was going to be able to be up here. And he won out, so I'm up here and he's down there in the cold, Joe.
And the Huskers, Tyrese Knox. Lance Lewis at fullback, knocks to the eye back. Taylor wants to throw, throws it long, and Bell goes for it, can't get it at the 10. Richard was screened away for a moment. I think the ball was in the air, and I'm not sure because he didn't expect it or because with the snow in his eyes looking back up into the wind, it might have been tough to pick up.
It'd be hard to see, Joe, looking back into all of that snow. Tom Osborne does this every once in a while when he gets the ball at midfield. He'll take one crack down deep, and of course he tried that that ball would have been hard to throw, overthrow, underthrow, throw anywhere with that wind blowing the way it is.
There you see it. Rushing 235 for the Huskers. +7 gives them 242 to 51 edge in total yardage. Just knocks the 45 to the 44-yard line of Iowa State. They would need the 40 for the first down. Tyrese, who's been averaging 7.5 yards every carry, stopped by strong safety Jeff Dole of the Cyclones.
Yeah, you can see, Joe, that they're switching backs here, giving Clark just a little bit of breathing room with Tyrese. Tyrese has been a very valuable guy to the Nebraska football team this year.
Huskers 3rd and 3. It's Bell in motion. Taylor takes the pitch, the 35, the 30, the 25, and dropped from behind near the 23-yard line by Adam Beck, the free safety. Steve Taylor, who is having himself one of those days that do not surprise Husker fans nor his coaches.
Joe, and at halftime, we'll have an Orange Bowl official up here who I'm sure is enjoying what he's seeing here from Steve Taylor as we watch the replay. But the Orange Bowl official will come up and join us at halftime to discuss that situation, the Orange Bowl and all the other bowls.
They have to explain snow to her. Lewis, the only man back. They throw it incomplete. That was Morgan Gregory at the 10-yard line. Taylor a little bit behind him. That's the first incompletion by Steve Taylor, and he gunned it. Gregory tried to make the catch. Morgan's the leading receiver with 19, 2 of them for touchdowns this year. The nearest man to him, defender for Iowa State, was that middle linebacker, Mike Shane, who seems to be every place. There's Taylor, 1 for 3, 7 yards, and that touchdown to Milliken. The other one to Clark was almost a no-gainer. 2nd and 10. Ball at the Cyclones' 23-yard line. That's Tyrese Knox in motion. Taylor runs the option. 15 to 10.
My goodness, Joe, that is just terrific. I mean, he had an option there, as of course he does when he rolls out, to either run the ball or throw the ball. And the poor defenders from Iowa State had to cover the 2 receivers that were in the area. When the receivers cut to the outside, they sort of went to them, turned their back on Steve Taylor, and Steve Taylor just sees he's going to throw the ball. Nope, decides not. I'm going to go down the field, makes a move on the last guy, goes right on into the end zone.
When they talk about quick feet, here's one of the guys they're talking about. Berrios will try it. He's 3 for 3 today in extra points. Godowski's hold. Jerry Godowski, the backup quarterback out of Fremont. It's off to the left side, but it's good. 28-0. Left near the goalpost on the left side. Godowski, with those cold hands, I think, has had a little bit of trouble, even though the snaps haven't been that bad, getting that ball down on the tee as Berrios comes forward, but he's made it both times the last 2, and it's 28-0.
As you can see here, Joe, again on the replay, as our timing sheets blow out of the booth. Tremendous winds, but Steve Taylor has the option to throw or run, makes a terrific move right there, and goes on in for the touchdown.
Steve Taylor, who has been operating hurt a good share of the time, he has thrown 11 touchdown passes this year. He has statistics that I think will certainly keep him in the forefront when they talk about Heisman Award. There's Dr. Tom, still hatless on the sidelines, doing a little pacing, and Chris Brennan will kick it off. And before that, let's check with Rich Roberts on the sidelines. Rich?
Joe, you know, so much is said about Steve Taylor, how well he throws the football and how well he runs it. Well, another thing you got to keep in mind, the guy is a very, very physical football player. He could take a hit. Last week after the Missouri game, Coach Osborne said they really came after him. The Tigers pounded Steve, but he took it. The guy can really take a hit and play some fine football. Back up to the booth.
Brennan's booth that's going to sail into and out of the end zone. Steve's only problem this year, and he went out one time and scared everybody a little bit, that pinched nerve in his neck is a recurring injury that can come at any time.
It really can, but Rich Roberts is exactly right about that guy. And the reason he can take those hits is he spends a lot of time in the weight room. Now, a lot of quarterbacks around the country would not do that, but Steve Taylor is in there almost every day working on that body. Of course, that muscle tone that he's able to put on there protects him with those hits. Now back to play-by-play. Joe.
From the Cyclones, Oberg, with only Henderson behind and flankers both ways, are down by 4 touchdowns. Hand off to Henderson, and he's grabbed as he comes out. and then wrestled back was Leroy Etienne, who got the first hit, and then a whole host of white-jerseyed Huskers moving back to around the 15. So Henderson, who can do the 40 in 4.8, 4.58, and is a high school 200-meter champion in his hometown of Chicago.
Joe, and Nebraska took a timeout there. I wondered if they would do that. They had timeouts left, and so they're going to take a timeout here and maybe force Iowa State to kick the ball into the wind again. Now, the Iowa State fans are booing. I don't know why. This is football. Maybe they're booing because they want to get off out of the stands in a hurry and get to something warm, and Nebraska's taking a timeout and making them stay there longer. But this is football. Make them kick into that wind. See if you can get another score before the half runs out.
I think I recall a Tom Osborne quote that says he finds it difficult to believe that any coach could be accused of running out the score in the first half.
How can you? I mean, you see what happens to UCLA just last week. They're ahead 27-7. What happens? They get beat. 28 points in this ball game you would think would be enough to win it, but who knows? With the weather, with some turnovers, you can't tell. This is exactly what Nebraska should be doing.
2nd and 8, I formation for the Cyclones. They have one timeout left. The Huskers have one. Minute 42 to go in the first half. In motion is Brown, the short side. Handoff up the middle goes to Curtis Warren, and he's got the 25, and not much more than that, 5 yards short of the first down. If the Huskers will choose to use their last timeout here. Joe Sims is number 56 out of Sudbury, Massachusetts. He and Mike Kroll, sophomores from that city. Joe, the left tackle, at 6'4" and 285.
Of course, Tom will probably take his last time out in the ballgame after this 3rd down, which should give him about 50 seconds to see if they can get something done.
3rd and 4. The Cyclones could use 4 yards here and keep the ball to end the half. Huskers are up 28-0. Rotfeldy again in motion to the open field side. Pitch comes back. Henderson just has no place to go. Grabbed by Leroy Etienne, and let's see if the Huskers with 51 seconds. Yep, they do use their last timeout.
And you can hear them, Joe. They're booing again, but I don't know why. I don't know why anybody would boo, except, yes, if you want to get out of the cold and maybe get into your car or get out to some refreshments, maybe that's why. But I know why they're booing. I think Nebraska's trying to run up the score. Well, as you just mentioned, running up the score in the first half, you can't be doing that. Unless you're ahead 70-0.
Johnston will be back at his 11-yard line. We've got Dana Brinson at his own 48, and shorter than that at the Cyclone 45 is Richard Bell. The ceiling gets a little lower, the wind gets a little more blustery, and the snowfall increases. It's damp, and it's cold, and Johnston will try to kick into that wind. Bill Cusinero is calling the count signal both ways. Low driving kick. Bell lets it go. Brinson's waiting for it. Now he's going to let it go, and it's going to roll down about the 39-yard line of Nebraska. Huskers wanting not to handle a slippery football in any kind of traffic. That was a pretty good job. A 36-yard punt again by Judge Johnston. Was having a good day. His average all year on good days and bad, 39 yards, and he's been very near that in some of the kicks into the wind today, plus that 80-yarder earlier.
You see some fans there kind of underneath the overhang, Joe, and I'm sure they're happy for that. Tom Osborne's going to try to get a quick score here, at least get into position to kick a field goal.
Huskers in their spread formation. Back to throw is Steve Taylor. Looking. Going to run to the outside. Now he's going to throw, and it's gunned downfield, complete at the 33-yard line. Coming back for it was Nate Turner.
He needed to get out of bounds there, Joe. Of course, the clock will stop because it's a first down, and Steve Taylor is calling the play right now. The officials will mark it for play, and Nebraska will be ready.
Tyrese knocks into dieback. There's Milligan coming in as well at tight end.
See the replay there, and that's a great catch. The only thing Turner needed to do was get out of bounds.
He came back at least 5 yards to make that catch. And Taylor winging it down on a line. Now is again time to throw. Throws over the middle. Caught by Morgan Gregory at the 12-yard line of Iowa State. And again, Huskers have no timeouts left. But on the first down marking, they do call timeout till they get the change move forward.
Only 12 seconds left here, and they're going to have to get up to the line of scrimmage, throw it into the end zone, get it off quick so they can get their field goal unit on the field if that's what they want to do.
Lance Lewis and Tyrese Knox back of Taylor. That's Bell at the right side. Whistle sounded. Apparently the Huskers did not get the play off. They're going to stop it with 4 seconds to go. And we see
time is going to stop here, Joe, because what could happen here is it wasn't an infraction, I don't think. I think the officials are just talking about it, and they're liable to mark this ball for play and start time, so Nebraska should be ready to kick the ball as soon as they mark it.
This would be a 32-yard field goal. Berrios, who's kicked all the extra points today and who in his career so far this year is 5 of 7 in field goals, with a long one of 48 yards, will have a 32-yarder. From the hash mark on the right side, only 4 seconds to go. Godowski will hold it. Greg Berrios out of Omaha Creighton Prep. And they're still in the fight for a back-to-back state high school championship. Godowski trying to keep his hands warm, as you see tucked inside his jersey, talking with Berrios now. They're going to put some time back on the clock. They had inadvertently let a couple of seconds run off. They're notifying both benches that they've added 2, so it's 6 seconds now from the time the official's arm goes down. You're looking at Berrios, left-footed soccer-style kicker. He's had 4 extra points today. This will be his first field goal try.
Yeah, they're going to mark this thing, Joe, and the time is going to start as soon as he marks it. As soon as he drops his arm, it's going to start as it did.
5 seconds, 4, plays down, kicked up, and it is good. Time has expired. Huskers, with a field goal by Berrios, a 32-yarder, stretch their lead to 31-0.
Yes, and boy, they're really booing as they go off the field as Tom Osborne goes off here, but absolutely no reason for it, and I'm sure Tom will feel exactly the same way. You can see, Joe, though, a lot of fans have left. They just cut out of here because it is miserable down there on the field with all that wind blowing around.
Huskers got 7 points in the first quarter, the rest of them in the second. We'll be back in a moment to Lanes, Iowa, Nebraska and Iowa State. The score 31-0 Huskers.
But no one knows exactly what the day will bring. Not even the weatherman. And that being the case, it's well worth having the peace of mind only this card gives you. The one from Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Those who have it feel better than those who don't.
This man wants to buy a TV, but he can't because he's in one of those big discount stores and he can't get a TV salesman to show him one. So he'll wait. After all, a penny saved is a penny earned, right? At World Radio, he would have been met by a salesman. He would have been shown brand name equipment. He would have received expert advice, and he wouldn't have paid a penny more. World Radio. For TVs, VCRs, home and car stereos, and other electronics, you'll like our service and our price.
State fans, bitter about the field goal in the closing seconds, have carried it over into the band who take the field now. Nebraska's band is out there, and they drew a few cat calls as they went out. Nebraska dominating that first half of play. Even into the win, they got on the board 7-0 on a third down pass. Taylor to Milliken and made it 7-0 with Berrios' extra point. Then Clark from 18 yards out ran for over 122 yards early to make it 14-0 with Berrios' extra point. Steve Taylor with a 29-yard run. Boy, his picture runs every time. Set up by a 22-yard run, and it was 21-0. Taylor again almost a replay with 23 yards in for his 101st yard of the day. 28-0, and then the one we've been talking about, Berrios with a 32-yard field goal. After considerable hesitation, 2 seconds restored to the clock, and it was a score of 31-0. And the Cyclone fans thinking that maybe Mr. Osborne is not playing fair by the Cardinal and goal by adding it on, even though it was still 30 minutes of playing time. They don't know about it.
Well, I'm sure, Joe, it has nothing to do with the bowls. We're going to talk to a bowl official in a minute. Although last week Nebraska only won by 8 points and they dropped 2 positions. That's got to be on Tom Osborne's mind. Although knowing Tom Osborne, he's just concerned about winning this football game and nothing else. And he thinks right now it could possibly take 31 points to win it. When you've got an opportunity to get points in the first half, you should do it, Joe.
Strange things can happen, I think, on blustery days. Who would have, for instance, thought that 2 Huskers would have over 100 yards at halftime? Clark with 122 and Steve Taylor with 101. Tyrese Knox on 3 carries with 18 yards, and Carpenter in 6 tries has a total of 25. Henderson has been the top gainer for Iowa State, and Joe has had just flat no place to run most of the time. 14 carries, he's gained a total of 30 yards. Warren in 5 carries gained 27. Most of his carries were early, and Oberg has scrambled 1 time and lost 7 yards. So Iowa State's offense shut down a little bit by the wind today. They like to pass. They threw for 3 touchdowns in the upset of Missouri. They haven't been able to do that effectively or very often today, and their ground game has just been naught so far. Well, the Huskers are rolling on all cylinders. So we've got a ball game that has kind of gotten to where a lot of people didn't think it would be, especially on a day like today. 31-0 at halftime. Nebraska leads it on 4 touchdowns and a Berrios field goal.
And now we're going to go down on the sideline to Rich Roberts, who has a story for us about a new Nebraska coach. New in that he's been here for a couple years and the job he's doing. Now let's join Rich Roberts on the sideline.
Fellas, anybody that knows anything at all about Nebraska football knows that the Huskers like to run the ball. That was evident, obviously, in the first half. Nebraska did not throw it very much. But the Husker receivers have to be ready. They have to be ready to be on the end of a Steve Taylor pass at all times. Here's a look at the man whose job it is to make sure his receivers are prepared.
It's ironic that Ron Brown is the man in charge of the Huskers receivers. You see, Brown has spent the better part of his football career defending the pass. First as a defensive back at Brown, and then as the Bruins defensive backfield coach for 3 years. Since coming to Nebraska, Brown has been on the receiving end of the passes. It's a change which has been successful, but one which has taken some work.
Anytime you come from a different situation, from defense to offense, and having to learn new players and then kind of reestablishing yourself in your own grounds and exactly what your philosophy is going to be as compared to the way maybe Gene Huey did it at one time. That's always a tough transition for the players and the new coach.
I think he's kind of relaxed a lot since he first got here. He was kind of, a little, being a new guy and all things like that. I think he was a little, walking on glass a little bit, a little hesitant on dealing with people. But now I think he's a lot more comfortable in his job and his position and things like that. So he's a lot easier to deal with now.
Gregory credits Brown's perfectionist attitude for help making him a much better receiver now than he was in the past. Morgan has responded by being Brown's top pupil this year with a team-leading 19 receptions and 2 touchdowns. Not bad numbers for an offense which runs the ball 80% of the time. And convincing his players to sit tight and await the pass has been one of Brown's toughest assignments.
I think it's a society, especially geared with the younger set, to be more me and I-oriented and not as quite team-oriented as it used to be in years past. I think it becomes a difficult process to teach youngsters to be unselfish. I think that the level of talent is here. I think these kids could play anywhere in the country. I think that what they're accustomed to is different. They have to be blockers. They have to be blue-collar type people. And the thing that I'm most proud about them is probably their unselfishness. They have to give up the statistics. Yet I tell them if they play hard and play well in what they do, the NFL and other people will notice what they do.
It's halftime here in Ames. The Huskers lead Iowa State 31-0. We'll be back with more halftime activities right after these messages.
Thrifty Nickel One Ads, bringing buyer and seller together for over 10 years.
Something that you planned for finally comes through. Everything you need in place and working hard for you. Life just got better. Aren't you glad you did? Life just got better. Now come on, let's live it. Guarantee Mutual Life just got better.
Hi, I'm Joe Patrick, and I've been a loyal House of Muffler and Brakes customer for a long time. You know, almost every day they replace mufflers their competition installed. Too bad this customer didn't come to the House of Mufflers and Brakes first. The House of Mufflers and Brakes has top-of-the-line mufflers at the same low price every day. And they guarantee their mufflers the full life of your car. Don't make an expensive mistake. Come to the House of Mufflers and Brakes and be sure.
Introducing the 3 new chicken sandwiches from Burger King.
Il panino italiano di pollo con la salsa marinara e mozzarella. Sono innamorato.
Le sandwich français au poulet avec ce jambon et ce fromage suisse.
The American chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and American cheese. Let's do lunch.
Try the 3 new chicken sandwiches from Burger King.
This is the world's most advanced automobile. It isn't from Germany or England. It's from Lincoln. And Continental is in stock now at Quality Lincoln Mercury, 6503 L Street, priced from $26,888. Quality Lincoln Mercury has Nebraska's largest Lincoln Mercury selection. In a Continental, there's room for everything, except perhaps improvement. Now, isn't that what a luxury car should be? Find your Continental at Quality Lincoln Mercury.
Back at Jack Trice Field, Cyclone Stadium in Ames, Iowa, on one of the worst days I think maybe the Huskers have ever come visiting, although 13 years ago, Bob Devaney brought a ball club over here, a little longer than that. George Amundsen, I remember, on the very last play, threw a pass into the end zone, was caught. They tied the ball game, missed the extra point, and it was a tie game, and Iowa State was off to one of the 2 ties that they've had in the history of this series. They've won 14 times. Nebraska's won 66 of them, and today the Huskers are on their way to one of the more lopsided scores, 31-0, and some of the fans are upset about it, but the stats are just about the same, Dan. 17 first downs to 3. Huskers on the ground with 2 guys going over 100 yards each. 278 to the Cyclones' total of 49. A total with 4 for 7 passing by Nebraska of 338 yards to Iowa State's 49. They have not picked up a passing yard yet. Nebraska had almost twice as many plays in the first half, 41-22. And on third down, they were able to convert it 6 times in 9 tries. Iowa State in 5 tries not able to convert a third down. It just has not been the Cyclones' day.
It hasn't been the Cyclones' day, Joe, but let's do a little talking now about the bowl situation around the country. As we said at the end of the half, I didn't think Tom Osborne was concerned about a point spread, whether he won by this amount of points or that amount of points. But it does become very critical now, as there was a lot of talk this week about Nebraska moving up in the ratings. They have to continue to move up in the ratings to get in position for those bowls. Now, of course, if Nebraska wins their next 3 ball games, they automatically, this ball game and 2 other ball games, they automatically go to the Orange Bowl. Now, in that Orange Bowl situation, the opponent's going to be extremely important. There's been a lot of talk early on about Notre Dame and West Virginia ending up in a bowl for the national championship. The only thing that's wrong with that and really bothers the bowl people is both those people could lose the ball game after the matchup. If one of them loses a ball game, then you most certainly don't have a national championship mass-up if you do, because of this situation. If they have lost, right, one of those guys has lost, then if the other one, the loser, beats that undefeated team, and it's not a national championship. My scenario is this, Joe. Here's what's got to happen to make it perfect, right? Now, UCLA has got to beat Southern Cal. Southern Cal then beats Notre Dame. with that scenario, that throws it completely open for everybody in the country again. If you go into a situation where Notre Dame beat Southern Cal that last ball game after Southern Cal beating UCLA, then Notre Dame almost has the national championship wrapped up going into the bowl game, and it's going to be very difficult for Nebraska to come up and get that national championship try. But if the scenario I just described happens, then Nebraska and everybody else in the country is right back in the national championship picture.
Team you didn't mention is Miami University, and of course they've lost only one time by 1 point to the Irish at South Bend. And if those things happen, if Notre Dame is defeated by Southern Cal and Southern Cal does lose to UCLA, then probably Miami is going to be the #1 rated team at the end of the season. Will they be the host team in the Orange Bowl? Does the Orange Bowl committee want Miami again against the Big 8 champ?
I think the Orange Bowl committee most certainly will take Miami. And it's not that they don't want Miami or that they wouldn't like to have Miami there because of their power. The only thing that having Miami in the bowl game does is it cuts down on at least 20,000 fans that might travel to the bowl game. And of course, that's why cities sponsor bowl games. That's why they get involved in them, because the number of the people that travel there. You take, for instance, when Nebraska played Clemson in the Orange Bowl. Nebraska had about 25,000 fans down there, and Clemson had 35,000. When you figure that every fan is going to spend a minimum of $250 per person in the time that they spend down there to visit, that's a lot of money that's being spent in Miami. So if they would take Miami again, they also would take Florida State if that's the top-ranked team. What you want is to build the prestige of your bowl, and everybody, of course, would like to have that national championship bowl game, but it's going to be very difficult for that to happen if you go out here and match up Notre Dame and West Virginia prior to those last 2 ball games. And of course, those matches are going to have to happen. What I think is not going to happen is I think bowls are going to be very, very cautious of what they do leading up to the next couple of weeks, Joe. And it's not going to unwind and unravel until we get a couple of big ball games out of the way.
Miami's still going to have to handle LSU at Baton Rouge, and that's a tough job. We're at halftime. It's 31-0 Huskers over the Cyclones. We'll be back with Nebraska, Iowa State, and more of our halftime show after this moment out. 31-0 Nebraska.
A leading scientist in the field of nuclear chemistry, University of Nebraska professor Dr. E.J. Chemnitz.
As a scientist familiar with nuclear issues, I've studied Initiative 402, and here's what I found. Since 1983, Nebraska has been in a regional compact with 4 other states to develop a federally required disposal site for low-level nuclear waste. The compact has been working to safely and economically dispose of the low-level waste from medicine, from science, from agricultural research, and from electricity generation. The compact has been working to ensure that the health and safety of people and the environment will be protected now and for the future. But 402 would force Nebraska to break our word and force us completely out of the regional compact. 402 makes no sense from a scientific standpoint and would be very expensive. I urge you to study the facts and to join me in voting against forcing our state out of the regional compact. Vote against 402.
People who care what they eat are learning some surprising things about calories. One surprising thing is that the white meat you see here contains fewer calories than anything else on the plate. But the most surprising thing is that this white meat is pork. Pork. The other white meat.
I remember you. You're the one who made me feel so blue. It's true. It's you.
You're seeing what America was like just 7 years ago. The Republicans have worked very hard to make sure you'll never have to see it again.
Tell them you remember. Tell them you remember too.
Oprah Winfrey, weekdays at 3 on KM3. This is News Center 3 Update.
Good afternoon. I'm Kent Grisham. We hope you're enjoying the game. And, of course, we'll have a complete wrap-up of it with Rich Roberts in Ames and Ann Schatz in Sports coming up to 5. Also coming up, the family of Janice Patterson searching the fields near Neola, Iowa say they found a body they think is Janice. They found the body less than 100 yards from the spot where her car was pulled from a ditch. We'll have all the details. And an arrest is made in the apparent Georgia murder case of Harmon Tucker, a transient arrested in Las Vegas, sleeping in Tucker's car. And in the weather, in Ames, there's a lot of snow, hopefully not that here.
Yeah, and a lot of wind, too. That brings our wind chills down to about 0. For us, they're hanging into the upper teens, but I'm going to have details on a one-day respite from these winter winds. That comes up a little bit later.
A one-day respite.
You
We
bet.
could probably use that to finish out this
A little bit more than one day. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Okay, thanks a lot, Mark. And, of course, also coming up later on, we'll have all the details from all the other news of the day, weather, sports, all the details coming up at 5. Now back to the football game.
That's how it looks at halftime. You see a couple of minutes left to go. Huskers with 1 touchdown in the first quarter, and adding the other 24 points in the second quarter on 3 touchdowns and a Berrios 32-yard field goal, have pretty much controlled this ball game. And as you can see from the middle of the winter guard, it's a chilly day. It's windy, and if you're in the Channel 3 area, probably you already guessed that if you're out here today, even inside and dressing like this, it's got to be miserable for those folks who have largely vacated the stands, and I think some of them may not be coming back because the Iowa State fans figure that 31-0 is as much as they want to watch today and have headed for home. The Nebraska faithful, I think, having made the migration, may be still sticking around.
I think the Nebraska people will stay here as long as anyone will, Joe. But I tell you what, if it gets much colder, you're not going to see Rich Roberts and I. You're going to have to do the ball game yourself.
Hey, Rich was looking like he was really cold. And here's a fella that just deigns a hat or anything else. He wears that red jacket and usually a headset. And Dr. Tom Osborne is on his way to his 9th win and 10 starts this year. I wanted to ask you a little bit ago, what's Tom's feeling on the Big 8 tie-up with the Orange Bowl? Has he said one way or the other, would he like to see it come to an end?
He would like to see it come to an end, most certainly, because he thinks you can have a lot more freedom to match up the national championship. Of course, the Big 8, if it continues the way it is with Oklahoma and Nebraska, they're always going to have a great representative in that bowl game. Now we're going to look at the first half highlights here, Joe. And just to finish that point, Joe, he likes the money, he likes the tie-up for those reasons, because it brings a lot to his program, but he'd rather not see the official tie-ups. There you see the first touchdown to Milligan. Come right back here with a very nice run, pitch and run. He sets up his blocks. Last block there by Sledge as he goes in. Clark goes in for the touchdown. Nebraska has just completely dominated this. I said early on that I thought Nebraska's offensive line would dominate later on in the ballgame. They dominated early. And then Steve Taylor, when you got a guy running behind an offensive line like Steve Taylor, he can make things happen, and he makes it happen 3 times in succession here. This time, they run the play to this side. He's got an option to throw or run, pulls it down, makes a super move right there. You talked about quick feet, Joe, and you're right, he's got them. Steve Taylor, we had to say, dominated this half on his own with Nebraska's offensive line taking over. But Steve Taylor really played a heck of a half. And I mentioned early on with his first run that if you wanted to go out and get a guy to build a team around, it would be that guy right there, Steve Taylor.
Jerry Godowski, the backup quarterback to Steve, who was probably a better quarterback than he's been given a chance to show, has been the guy who has been holding for all of the extra points and the field goal, and that's a yeoman job today. It hasn't been easy. Cold fingers. He got the ball down and got it in place for Berrios. And the Huskers have rolled to a 31-0 lead and just dominate the stats. Taylor has thrown 7 times, 4 completions, and he's thrown to 3 different receivers, to Clark, Milliken, and Turner. Turner's with a 28-yard comebacker, and with 6 seconds on the clock and the clock running, Berrios came on and notched a field goal, his 6th of the year in 8 tries. And that was the last 3 points that Nebraska had. There's the numbers we've been talking about. First downs, you see a big edge for the Huskers. Total yards, 334 to 49. Fumbled it twice and not lost it. Iowa State fumbled it once and didn't lose it. Iowa State has no yards in that second number, 49 total yards and 49 rushing yards for the day. They haven't had anything through the air. Possession times. Huskers have more than 5 minutes on them. Nebraska lost the opening flip. Iowa State took the wind. Huskers elect to take the football to start the second half, and as you can see, they're still holding the towel over it. They're still holding it on the tee. They finally beckoned somebody in. It's Jeff Dole, strong safety, going to come in to hold it on the tee for the kick. So Nebraska leading 31-0 will get the football, and we've got 30 minutes of football to go, and the snow and the wind continue. Place kicker's kicking downwind, having a field day. That one carried completely out of the end zone, and that's Jeff Shudak, who's a sophomore. They're going to enjoy having him around. He played his prep football at Council Bluffs St. Albert. He got 2 field goals against Colorado, 149 and 152 yards. He has not missed in 32 straight extra points. And in kicking downwind today, I think there has not been a run back at all. Everything's gone out of the end zone. Punting has been admirable, I think, when you've had to punt into the wind. Here come the Huskers. Clark, Carpenter. I back and fullback, Taylor at quarterback. Pitch comes to Ken Clark. Runs out of a tackle to the 20, goes to the 25, maybe the 26. Shoved out of bounds by free safety Tim Baker.
And, Joe, you see those decisions that coaches have to make going into a ball game. Where do they take the win? Where do they take the ball? And Iowa State decided to take the win in the first quarter, thinking that might be able to stop Nebraska. Nebraska did only get 7 points in that first quarter, but now Nebraska gets the ball right back after putting up 24 points in the second quarter.
Flanker and wingback to the open field side. Hand off to Carpenter, breaks through for a moment to the 38, 39-yard line. He's got the first down.
Boy, you see them hammer this play in here and hammer it in there and hammer it in there. The first 3 or 4 times they run the play, it doesn't seem to do anything. And you say, why is Tom Osborne running that play? And all of a sudden, it starts to pop open, as you see right here. They get a very good cross block in the middle from the 2 guards, and he just pounds, Carpenter just pounds it up in there and kind of runs over a guy at the end. You see the snow flying up from his feet.
That's Taylor up close, 1st and 10 at his own 40. Richard Bell in motion. On the draw, coming outside. Clark. What a move. 47-yard line. A gain of 7 will be 2nd and 3. We're barely into the 3rd period.
And Big Glazier was out there on the end roaming, and as he says, the reason he likes to get out there is you can see him coming around here, is he likes to get out there and hit a littler guy, and I guarantee you this time he's hitting a littler guy there, knocks him off the ball, and then Clark is able to cut inside and go on down the field.
That's 3 straight tackles for the free safety, number 29, Tim Baker. He'll be back next year. There's the numbers on Ken Clark. I formation, power I, strong to the right. They run the opposite way. Taylor carries it across midfield to the 46 of Iowa State. Another first down, and again, for the 4th straight time, it's been Tim Baker on the stop for the Cyclones. Taylor, I don't believe holding his elbow. Looked like he might have been adjusting that band on his wrist as he came out.
He's had a little pain in that elbow and that forearm for about 3 weeks. But I think, Joe, all he was doing is just adjusting that little pad you see there on his forearm.
Cyclone 46. Taylor with 108 yards now, averaging almost 11 yards per try. Back to throw. Plenty of time. Throws it complete to Katzenstein, his 2nd catch of the year, the 35-yard line. And again, it's Tim Baker on the stop. 5 tackles in a row by the junior the free safety from Grundy Center, Iowa. He's not a big guy either. He was a high school quarterback. They converted into a defensive back. He made 8 tackles against Huskers last year.
Look at the replay there, Joe. He just has all the time in the world and fires it right in there. Now let's go down to the sideline and Rich Roberts.
Well, as you saw Monty Kratzenstein making the catch here, Todd Milligan has just a cramp in his left leg. Should be back in the ballgame a little bit later on.
1st and 10 Huskers. Power I. Reverse. Here's Brinson to the 30, to the 25, to the 23.
Tom Osborne commented last week that was one of the frustrating things about this season for him, that he hadn't been able to get Brinson free for a big run. Oftentimes you see him coming around there, and you see it on the replay here, where Brinson is actually a 3rd back in the backfield, and this one breaks open pretty good. Again, Glazier out in front, knocking those little people around, and he picks up good yardage.
Dana, the fastest Husker ever, 4.37 for his 40. Tim Baker, there's Brinson. Baker made that stop again, and Tim Baker and Mike Shane have had almost all of the tackles for Iowa State. Pitch comes out to Clark, knocked out at the 20-yard line to Richard Bell.
And that's one thing that Brinson didn't get done there. He's very quick and is a real asset to the Nebraska football team, but he's not the greatest blocker in the world, and he didn't quite get the guy off his feet on the corner, or Bell would have picked up a lot more yardage on that play, Joe.
Richard, a very speedy young man, a redshirt in '86. He had some knee surgery that year. Altadena, California is his home. 2nd and 7, Nebraska. Pitch comes back, coming outside, and Clark is inside the 20 to about, not quite the 17-yard line. Huskers will need to get to the 13 to pick up the first down. Up very close on Kenny Clark, and he gets help up from a Cyclone. Jay Carruthers will made the stop, along with Anthony Hoskins, the outside linebacker.
See the replay again here, and boy, this just goes over and over again when those big linemen pull out and come on the outside, and they're coming right at our cameraman. And he picks up a great shot there, Joe. Good coverage.
Huskers in 4-down territory, but it's 3rd and 5. The Cyclone 13. Taylor with a handoff to Clark. 15 to the 12. He has got the first down with a yard to spare. And Carruthers, again, the right corner makes the stop. Carruthers was an All-America junior college player in Iowa. He's a number 2 tackler last year among the defensive backs. 6'2", 194-pounder from Inkster, Michigan. Huskers have a 1st and 10 about the 12-yard line. Get to the 2, they'll pick up the first down. We've got 12 minutes to play 3rd quarter. Nebraska leads it 31-0, and it's a cold, blustery day at Ames if you just got here. Power I strong to the right. 1st and 10 Huskers. Taylor fakes. Bootleg. Now he's going to throw. He's got one man to beat. Throws it in the corner. Touchdown. Nope, they didn't hold it. Pass was there. Diving try by Brinson, but he couldn't come up with it. Marcus Robertson, the nearest man to him.
And you would think Brinson would catch this ball because he had to go down on his knees to get it, but it was there. Steve Taylor throwing across his body while he's moving, and he really put some juice on this ball. You can see he's supposed to roll out here, hold up, and he's looking for guess who? The tight end. That time the tight end didn't clear. He comes back. He does this awful well. Now, he really put some steam on this ball, and it looks like it's right there, and he just drops it. That's all there is to it, Joe. He just dropped it.
Very similar move to that Steve made when he got the ball into Milligan for a Husker touchdown. Taylor rolls out, the 10, the 5, Taylor, another touchdown. 37-0.
Guess who's going to be Big 8 player of the week this week on offense, Joe? I think we're seeing him right here today.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a kid named Sanders that goes against Oklahoma at 3:30 this afternoon that has been having some fantastic days as well. But Steve is certainly a contender. Look at this run.
And I tell you what, Joe, if Sanders can do better than Taylor, we'll give it to him, won't we? If he can do that against Oklahoma, all the power in the world to him. Let him go do it.
Barrios once again off the hold by Gary Godowski. Down and up. Through the middle. 38-0, Nebraska with 11:31 to go. We'll be back in a moment. Nebraska and Iowa State from Cyclone Stadium. Huskers lead at 38-0.
Invariably, Occidental does have the higher interest rates, and so it's foolish to go someplace else when you already got convenience and personalized service established at Occidental.
I feel that Occidental has very competitive rates, and I think that's an advantage that Occidental has to be able to stay top of the market and very competitive.
Customer William Coates and employee Karen Thompson. 2 more good reasons for banking at Occidental, Nebraska.
This is Tires Inc.'s Go in the Snow Winter Catalog.
8 pages with up to 50% off on automotive services, batteries, and Dunlop tires.
It was mailed to you in the envelope.
Or pick it up at any Tires Inc. service center.
Featuring Dunlop, the winning tire at Le Mans and Daytona.
And right now, Dunlop all-season radials are on sale
for as little as $29.88.
It's all in here, our Go in the Snow Winter Catalog.
Go in the Snow. That's a great line I came up with. Don't you think, Dick?
I think you'll never let me forget it.
Live from Cyclone Field, the Huskers. 11-yard scamper by Steve Taylor with 11 seconds to go. There's a fella that's got to get some kind of an award for braving it out on a blustery day. Kick into the wind this time. Brennan gets away from Iowa State, rolls out of bounds. Cyclones Johnson chasing it out of bounds. It'll be their ball, but the field position, even with the wind at your back, is not what the Cyclones want, even if the score weren't 38-0 against them.
No, it isn't. Not to get stopped way down there. And we just showed that shot of our cameraman up on the scoreboard. That's Jim, and I'm telling you, he's the guy that deserves the game ball today, Joe, because that's got to be the toughest position to be.
Johnson had no chance to run that one. That would have been the first one I think we had run back today if we'd gotten that one. Cyclones spread out all over the field. Henderson is the only back behind Oberg. Wants to throw. On the run, has time, throws it to Brown, complete at the 20, out of the 22. Eddie Brown. Shoved out by Broderick Thomas. Brown is out of Topeka, Kansas. He was a high school football player only as a senior. 5'10", 180 pounds. Transferred up from junior college, and he was all conference there. He's a good one.
Joe, you wonder why 38-0 that Walden would wait this long to open it up, if he indeed is going to open it up. The ball game is over. Now he's going to come out and throw the ball. I don't know why he would wait this long.
First down for the Cyclones at the 24-yard line. It's Henderson in motion. Oberg waits, throws it incomplete. Flag goes down, and it looks like it might be pass interference.
Joe, that one was called by the fans. The official waited and waited and waited, and what it was, there wasn't any bumping going on. It was just screamed. Two Nebraska players, Fryer being one of them, had the receiver screamed and wouldn't let him come to the inside. And it was a very, very late call. As I say, I think it was called by the Iowa State fans. They were booing before the flag came out.
11-19 in the third quarter as Iowa State will pick up the first down at the 39-yard line. The ball was so far ahead, you had to figure it might be a penalty. There's Jim Walden looking on, his coaching staff behind him from across the way. And the ceiling continues to get a little bit lower, and the snow, I think, maybe turning a little more to rain. Very wet on that field. Cyclones first and 10 at their own 38-yard line. Oberg rolls out on the run. Looks, throws it short, complete at midfield. Reggie Cooper makes the stop for the Huskers.
Right.
Craig Mahoney, the tight end. Make it Dennis Ross. Ross out of Detroit is their leading receiver. He was a high school quarterback. A lot of times coaches like to recruit high school quarterbacks, figuring they're the best athlete on the team, and if they can't play the quarterback spot, they can still play someplace well. 2 of 4, as you see, for Oberg, for a total of 25 yards, all in this half. 48 of Nebraska. Oberg with only Henderson behind him, pitches to him. No place to go, and Joe Sims wrestles him down for a loss of about 3.
Wells also was in on the play, and boy, has he come along as the last 4 or 5 weeks. He has really moved up and has played great at that position, where Nebraska needed a lot of help, Joe. They needed a lot of help in those down linemen, and Wells has really come along and filled in. See it on the replay here, and this is just not going to go. Iowa State is not going to be able to run the ball against Nebraska, and Sims made a very good play there coming off the ball.
A loss of 3 at 2nd and 13. Cyclones are on 48. Huskers with a 5-man front. 3 flankers to the open side. Fake, they throw short. Henderson can't hold it.
Just out of sync there, Joe. It looked like Henderson wanted the ball a lot quicker than he was given it. So he was just not exactly ready when he got it, kind of bobbled the ball and down. I don't think it was going to pick up a lot of yardage anyway.
You want a verification on how tough it is to catch a football on that sideline. Rich Roberts is braving it out on the sideline with our microphone down there, and it is just a toss. Just the ball boy tossing the dry ball of the referee. I think it is a kind of a meritorious catch because it has been getting steadily worse since noontime. Henderson again is the only back behind Oberg. 2 flankers to the left, 1 to the right. Henderson up the middle, across midfield, but just barely. Short of the back marker, which means it's going to be more than 10 yards to go.
And that's going to send the Iowa State fans out of the stadium, Joe, I guarantee you. 3rd down, and you run the ball up the middle. 3rd down and 13, and you run the ball up the middle.
Kent Wells and Lawrence Pete on the stop for Nebraska, and Johnston now, with the wind behind him, will stand back at his 35 to get it away. Brinson stands on the Huskers' 10. There's a guy that got an 80-yarder off earlier in the ball game with the wind at his back. Average out 41 on the day. High snap, and he's got it. Angling for the out of bounds. Huskers going to let it roll, and it's going to be a good one. They let it go all the way down to the 5, hovering all around it, and that wind is going to take it right down to the 1.
And that was just the wind blowing the ball. Now let's go down to the sideline and Rich Roberts for an injury report.
Just talked with George Sullivan, the trainer of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. He says he's going to try to keep Todd Milligan out of this game if he can, unless they need him later on here in the second half of the score. At 38-0, doesn't look like Milligan will be needed. Todd has a hamstring cramp in his left leg, so as I said, George Sullivan would like to keep him out of the game if possible throughout the rest of the ball game. Back up to the booth.
His head coach says that's tough because Todd never lets you know when he's hurt. Todd was a punter in high school at Shenandoah, and a good one. He has been some kind of a pass receiver. Caught his 7th touchdown pass today. 15 for the year. 9-10 to go, 3rd quarter. Huskers 38-0 in front. And it's kind of a mixture of rain and snow and gusting winds up to 40. The playing conditions about as bad, I believe, as we've seen in recent seasons.
The officials are over around the sideline to see about a scoreboard, Joe. We might be able to grab a timeout here. They called timeout on the field, so we'll take a timeout with Nebraska leading this ball game 38-0. We'll be right back.
See your local Ford dealer today. Quality people, quality products.
From the fast lane, advanced trauma care provided by the University of Nebraska Medical Center and SkyMed Emergency Air Transport.
Officials got it out and got it in play. Tyrese Knox at I-back, brings it straight ahead out near the 4-yard line. A 48-yard punt by Judge Johnston put the Huskers back, and here's Knox on the first play coming out of the end zone, stopped by outside linebacker Anthony Hoskins. It's 2nd down and 7. Nebraska deep in their own territory, but on top 38-0. Taylor hands off to his fullback, and it's Lewis out for good yardage in the first down near the 15.
And this play is going to begin to work, Joe. You really can see when the offensive line is dominating when this play starts to work. It did last week in Missouri, the week before against Kansas State. We have an Iowa State player down on the field who was at the brunt of that block, I think, Joe.
One of 4 fellas who won't be back in their 2-deep lineup for the Iowa State Cyclones, Jeff Dole. He's a strong safety. They got Carruthers in the right corner. Outside linebacker Hoskins and Allen Patton in at that left tackle. Otherwise, everybody's either a sophomore or a junior and will be back of their starting 2 deep. So better things are ahead for Jim Walden. Hopefully weather-wise, as well as in the fortunes. Iowa State 4-4 going into the day. And a tough loss against Colorado after 2 Big 8 wins. Power I. Taylor rolls that way. Touch to the 20. He might be gone. Midfield when they wrestle him down. Tim Baker once again. He's had a great 3rd quarter.
Well, Steve Taylor's making most of what would probably be his last series, Joe. You see it on the replay here as he rolls out. Lewis gets a good block right at the line of scrimmage. And he thinks, as you said, I thought he was gone here, but he couldn't quite just get past that last guy. And they push him out of bounds at about midfield.
That's the kid we were talking about, a high school quarterback who 8 tackles against the Huskers last year, Tim Baker. There's a power I formation, 1st and 10 at midfield. Tyrese Knox off the right side is to near the 44-yard line of the Cyclones. And that rain and snow mix kind of comes in sheets now. There's a citizen up in the end zone at the north end who stands up with a blanket behind him. Looks like the sail on a ship in a hurricane. Every time he stands up, it almost blows him away.
With that last run, Joe, I think that is Steve Taylor's best day of the year. That 155 yards rushing is his best day of the year. He's just been outstanding in this ballgame.
Yeah, Jerry Godowski now quarterback spot, number 14. Power eye, 2nd and 5. Pitch comes back. Knox has not quite got the first down. He's at the 41. They'll need to get just across the 40. 3rd and about a yard. There's Tyrese.
Well, what a story Tyrese Knox is filled in at so many positions when the Nebraska football team needed him at those positions. When we have the injuries at fullback, Tyrese says, sure, fine, I'll go back and play a little bit of fullback for you, and did a great job both running the ball and blocking it. And now he comes back and he's playing the I-back position.
Don't worry, be happy. Husker fans are, in spite of the weather. 38-0 on the scoreboard. 3rd down and about a yard. Godowski at quarterback. Hands off, and I don't think they made it.
Now they stacked them up right there, Joe, at the line of scrimmage, and they didn't get enough. Now let's see if Nebraska is going to kick it or they're going to go for it. And it looks like they're going to go for it. They're not going to put any punter in the ball game at this point. They're just going to go out there and go for it. As you see on your screen here, got the same player that was down before, down again.
That was Tyrone Davis. He's the backup to Mike Shane. That's Chris Henniges, the linebacker spot, who made the stop. He wasn't the one who was injured on the play, and Davis, a freshman out of Houston, Texas, goes out. And the Huskers, 4th and 1, are going to go for it. Gregory wide to the right side, I formation otherwise. Godowski at quarter looks at a 7-man, almost an 8-man front. Flips it back. Tyrese Knox, I don't believe, made it. He had to get across the line. He was hit by Anthony Hoskins and stopped short. So the Cyclone fans, who haven't had that much to cheer about today, get a chance to let go.
Yeah, this is the most they've had to cheer about since that first drive in the first quarter. And the Cyclone fans that are left, and a lot of them on this side of the field, Joe, not many on the other side of the field, which is a lot colder, but they're really cheering about this, and that's good. But if Nebraska would have punted the ball like they were booing and wanting them to do, they wouldn't have had that to cheer about. And there wasn't any advantage in punting the ball. You would only got another maybe 15 yards out of it.
1st and 10 Cyclones, 6:13 remain. 3rd quarter, 38-0 Nebraska. Oberg at quarterback with Henderson the only back behind him. 3 wideouts to the open side. He runs that way, looks back, throws back. It is complete to Bush. Comes down the sideline to midfield, and he may have the first down. He's very close. Tim Jackson makes the stop. Husker safety man.
Very well conceived play there, Joe. A roll to the opposite side. As you see on the replay here, he rolls to the opposite side. He looks like he's going to run that way. All of a sudden stops and throws back, and they really have this thing set up. I mean, it should have picked up more yardage, but the blockers downfield didn't pick up the 2 Nebraska defenders that were there. They almost picked up the first down, though.
Good hit by Tim Jackson. Tim is a transfer out of Kansas State. Came to Nebraska. Now, again, it's Henderson, the only back behind. 2nd and less than a yard. Henderson's got the first down. So the Cyclones pick it up. Jeff Mills makes the stop, but he's at the 47-yard line of Nebraska. 5:24 remains 3rd quarter. There's Mills out of Montclair, New Jersey. 220, 6'3", a junior. Henderson stats. He's had 2 yards average per day, and his long run has been 7.
As you said before, Joe, he had almost had 4 100 yards rushing coming into this ball game, so the Nebraska defensive line and linebackers has really held him down. Got a timeout here. I don't know. Iowa State takes the timeout.
5:09 to go, 3rd quarter. We'll be right back live to Ames, Iowa. Nebraska and Iowa State. The score: Huskers 38, Cyclones nothing.
There's a lot of reasons why we came to Sizzler for all-you-can-eat shrimp. The shrimp are really good.
All you can eat.
And you get a thick sirloin steak.
With shrimp. All you can eat.
And it's a great deal.
All you can eat.
Now you can get steak and all the golden, crunchy fried shrimp you can eat for a shrimp of a price at the steak, seafood, salad.
Are you going to eat that?
Sizzler.
Introducing Barefoot Comfort from Carrier. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning announces the new Carrier high-efficiency Infinity gas furnace, built for the 1990s, available from Standard today. For prompt professional installation and service you can count on, Standard's factory-trained servicemen have earned a reputation second to none. We do the job right the first time. Buy Carrier from Standard now and get a cashback rebate. Barefoot Comfort from Carrier and natural gas. Call Standard today.
A wintry-type afternoon, Cyclone Stadium. Cyclones with the ball first and 10 at the Nebraska 48. Oberg at quarterback. Henderson the only back behind him. Fakes. Runs outside to the 45, maybe the 44. Run out of bounds by Mark Blazik and Bruce Pickens.
I tell you, the Nebraska, or the Iowa State fullback just got flattened there on that fake, Joe. He just got bowled over as they picked up four. It was that Thomas who just absolutely knocked him right out of his shoes. We got a couple of hardy Iowa State fans, Joe, right down below us. And because Iowa State had crossed the 50-yard line, they opened up the champagne.
Everybody take tomorrow off.
Huh? Opened up the champagne, and they're toasting it right down below us.
That's Brown and Glattfeldy as they do white out top of your screen. Warren is in as the only back right now behind Oberg. Henderson out for the moment. Under pressure, Oberg tries to roll out and can't get away from Mike Kroll. Number 88, there he is. Sudbury, Massachusetts. He's a New England 100-meter champion. Great speed for right outside linebacker or defensive end, if you want to call him that.
Boy, he's a real comer here. We're going to be isolated on ETN as he blitzes up the middle, and then you see it from the outside. Kroll's got him and wrestling down. This guy is really coming on too, Joe, and this is going to be a player that next year and the year after we're going to see a lot of.
Again, it's Brown going wide to the far side, and Glattfeldy comes out to the near side. Henderson is back in. Oberg wants to throw, gets chased by Broderick, hits the deck, and Broderick's right there.
Well, Broderick will get a sack credited to him, but I think mostly what he got there was a scare. Broderick was just coming at him so hard, he went right down. Feet slipped out from under him, and down he went. But Broderick will get the credit for the sack.
Brod runs a 40 in 4.76. He's 6'3", 2.5. Amazing speed for a big guy. He is, I think we've mentioned before, is a nephew of Mike Singletary, who was one of the most fun guys to watch if you're a Chicago Bear fan in that secondary. Johnston will stand back at his 26, 4th and 23 for the Cyclones. Brinson is back at his 15. There's Dana. Good snap. Monstrous kick, and this is going to carry into the end zone. Well, Johnston jabbed his fist into his palm. There you get a little idea. The snow is only snow in the air. As soon as it hits the ground, it becomes very wet in that field. 3:20 to go, 38-0 Huskers, and that was a 60-yard punt. There's the fellas that we're going to have special services for right after the ball game.
That's right. Look at his lens there, Joe. What he's been catching into his space also is what you saw there. You see the people huddled up against the side, the lee side of the stands. It's something.
After the touchback, here come the Huskers. Gadowski in the middle to Lance Lewis for what, a couple of games. Now a fumble on the play. Let's look at it again. Cyclones run it out, but they're going to be their ball, and I believe around the 20-yard line. Lewis coughing up the football.
Here we go on the replay, Joe, and you see hand him off right in the middle. It looks like he's down, but evidently the ball popped out of there. Yeah, it definitely popped out. He doesn't know where it is. And they pick it up. Must have hit the ground. It's one of those type calls, Joe, where the officials, I don't think, really know what happened inside of that pile, whether the ball was down or not, but they marked it down on the 20 and gives Iowa State its deepest penetration since the first quarter and a chance here.
Looks like Randy Byrne, the right end, number 75, might have knocked it loose. Here comes Oberg back to throw. And he scrambled a little bit, now throws toward the end zone. It's incomplete. No flags. Headed for Eddie Brown, but Eddie wasn't very close to it.
One of those situations, Joe, where the wide receiver had fallen down. It is very slick down there on that field right now, and if you try to make a cut out of the wide receiver position, it's very difficult to hold your feet. He slipped down, so the quarterback just lofted it in the end zone where there was nobody, throwing it away.
Mark Blezik of Valparaiso, Nebraska, was the nearest guy to him, number 23. Oberg 3 of 6 now for 34. 2nd and 10. Just outside the 20-yard line of Nebraska. That's Henderson in motion. Hand off to Warren, and he is just snowed under. Curtis Warren, no place to go, as Pat Tyrants was the first guy there. Tyrants was a redshirt last year out of Omaha Millard North. 6'2" and 230. Sophomore.
Also in on that play was number 95, Broomgard. And those two people, you have two former starters. So when you bring people off the bench into this setup, you've got two former starters who are very good players out there.
Denny Ross, top of your screen, 3rd and 15, Husker 25 for the Cyclones. Henderson in motion toward Ross. Oberg straightens up, wants to throw, goes over the middle, off the helmet of Fryer. Charles face guarding as Ross on the look-in pass was the target, and it bounced off Fryer's helmet. Incomplete, and brings up 4th and 15.
And we see it on the replay here as it hits Fryer, as you said, Joe, right in the helmet. Now, that would have been face guarding had he been waving his hands up in the air, but he was just screening is all he was doing. Field goal attempt here, Joe.
Jim Walden wants not to be shut out. It's Shudak from an angle. Looks to be about a 41-yard attempt with the wind at his back. Up. It is good. So Shudak continues. He has not missed an extra point this year. He's hit 8 of 13 field goals. His longest was 55. He had 2 almost 50 against Colorado. And this one is through, and it's 38-3. So the Cyclones, with 2:22 to go in the third quarter, are on the scoreboard. We'll be right back live at Ames, Iowa, with Nebraska and Iowa State. And the score, 2:22 to go, third period. Huskers lead it 38-3.
A lot of places will cut you a deal on the price of 2 pizzas, but what usually gets cut is the amount of cheese and the toppings. But at Pizza Hut, you get 2 medium hand-tossed traditional pizzas loaded with 2 layers of cheese, just $9.99. Pile on your favorite toppings. At Pizza Hut, we always cut you a great deal. So why get their skimpy pizzas when you can get great pairs from Pizza Hut delivered?
Pizza Hut, making it great.
Flowers whisper what words can never say. Whisper I love you with flowers from Janicek Florist and Greenhouse, 49th and Charles at Saddle Creek. Phone 556-5652.
Shudak, who just booted the 42-yard field goal, puts a lot of foot into this one. It'll carry out of the end zone. A touch back and come out to the 20-yard line. That's where it was when the Huskers lost it. Iowa State in 3 tries, lost 5 yards. But Shudak, with a 42-yard field goal, put them on the scoreboard for the first time, 38-3. I'll tell you, that is the 4th fumble of the day, but only the first turnover. And on a day like today, I think that's kind of remarkable.
It really is. You think you would see a lot more turnovers. But, of course, both teams have been fairly conservative in what they were doing so far.
Jerry Godowski with Lance Lewis and Tyrese Knox behind him in the eye. Runs the option to the 20, pitches out. Knox has got it. And he is flags all over the place as he goes out around the 31-yard line.
I think, Joe, the way those flags were thrown there, now it couldn't have been a late hit, so I was thinking maybe it was a late hit. We'll see here coming out. Was it a holding? A holding against Nebraska. But this guy, Godowski, is absolutely great at that. I mean, holds the ball right to the last moment, pitches it out. And as you saw the play went by there, I think you saw the hold as you went by it.
Looked like somebody reached out and got a defender's ankle. And there's Tom Osborne talking it over with Brinson, among others. Garrett is there.
That Tom's got to get himself a snowsuit here. I mean, I feel sorry for him. Out there freezing with no hat on, and I'm sure he doesn't have long underwear either. You know, he's just one of those guys that leads by example. And if he can stay out there, everybody else can stay out there.
Number 14, Jerry Godowski's got the best passing percentage of all the Husker quarterbacks, 5 of 7, 71%. Fourth penalty for the Huskers, a total of 45 yards. Iowa State's penalized twice for 10. First and 20 now as they move the ball back to the 10. Godowski on the play, apparently not off in time. Got ahead of the tackle on this side of the line, Joe, moved, and Nebraska will get another 5-yard penalty. Huskers now trying to get some people in that haven't had that much playing time.
He moved, Joe. Bunt moved. Number 78 moved a little bit early, and Nebraska will get 5 yards tacked on there.
And at tight end is Chris Garrett out of Snyder, Texas, 6'3" and 2 1/4. Number 80. Milligan will not be back. Kratzenstein caught his second touchdown, or his second catch of the year this year. And Garrett listed the number 4 man at the tight end spot with 2:14 to go. Now it's first and 25 for Nebraska back at their 5. Godowski, option play left. Couple of yards. Well played defensively by the Cyclones. Ray Carruthers, the right cornerback, stood there, wrestled him down. We got a report from the sideline. Rich Roberts. Rich?
Jeff Shudak, the young man from Council Bluffs, St. Alberts, who just put the Cyclones on the board with that field goal. 28 out of 38 last year in field goals, or rather in his career, 28 for 38. All Big 8 last year, 77 points, having a fine year. He's a redshirt sophomore. Let's go back out to the booth.
It's 38-3, and here come the Huskers needing 23 yards to pick up the first down. The ball is at about their own 7. Kratzenstein comes from right to left. Godowski hands off to his fullback, and Lewis grabs at the 8-yard line. Can't go any further than that. A lot of Cyclones led by number 90, the right end, Dan Daly, out of Hudson, Wisconsin. That's him, number 90. With 1:12 and the clock running. Well, I don't think anybody too unhappy that it is, because it has been a thoroughly weather-wise miserable day for Cyclone fans. 38-3 on the scoreboard. That kind of completes it for them.
That's right, Joe. Walden said earlier on in the week, if he had his way, he would call it off. I'll tell you right now, I tend to agree with him.
That was even before the weather factor, huh? There's one hardy soul. Huskers 3rd and 22 from their 8-yard line. It's Bell in motion. Godowski runs, goes to the 10, the 20, the 30, cuts back. He's got a helper. Oops, get caught at the midfield stripe and knocked down at the 46. He had one blocker out in front of him, but chasing
just one more step, Joe. Just one more step. Had he been able to get across the field like he was trying to do, he would have been able to pick up that blocker, and that blocker would have knocked down the last guy that had a chance. You see right here, good run here, good move right there. Great move, got to the outside, pretty good block there, and he goes downfield. Now, if he'd have just been able to get by that guy who grabbed him by the shirt, he would have got to the blocker over there, Ba, and he'd have been able to break it all the way. That would have been quite a run.
Adam Beck dragged him down. That was Nate Turner that threw that block up about the 40-yard line, let him make the turn and come back over the midfield mark. So Godowski, who runs that option as well as anybody, he's a 6'1", 195-pound junior out of Fremont.
Call a timeout here. We're going to keep it right here. There's only 8 seconds left to go in the quarter, and just a little bit of confusion evidently on what was called. Jerry Godowski there with A lot of rushes for the season, of course. 15 rushes for 146 yards, averaging almost 10 yards. And the reason he averages that, Joe, is because he's so darn good at that pitch, at that option. He carries that thing out there so many times and pitches it right at the last minute and sucks in that cornerback. Eventually, they start saying, oh, no, you're not going to do that to me again. And he doesn't pitch the ball. He holds it and goes on downfield. So he's about as good as I've seen in a long time at that pitch.
No surprise that the people in the Fremont area, they've been watching him through his high school career when he was All-State in both football and basketball. He was the Nebraska High School Athlete of the Year in 1986. Jerry Godowski. Here comes Turner. Bottom of your screen is the wide out to the left, the open field side. Only 8 seconds remaining in this third quarter. Huskers 1st and 10 after Godowski's sparkling run. It's Garrett going to the opposite side. Godowski double reverse. Tyrese gives it to Richard Bell. Bell at the 45, still on his feet, down to the 42. Not quite the first down, and the third quarter has just become history. Dean Ehlers made the stop, the defensive left end for the Cyclones. So after 3 periods of play, the snow gets snowier, the wind gets colder and stronger. And the Huskers, after 3 periods, lead it 38-3.
For 8 years, I've had the privilege of working with your Congressman, Hal Dobb. Now you have the responsibility of choosing a new congressman. Your next congressman must be someone who won't sell out his principles, a person who believes that the road to continued economic growth lies with less government interference and no new taxes. I can't think of a better person to fill Hal Dobb's shoes than Jerry Schenken. That's why I'm asking you to vote for Jerry Schenken for Congress.
Start your holiday shopping early at Mall of the Bluffs. We're growing bigger to bring you an even better selection. And next week, we'll unwrap our new expansion featuring Dillard's. It's the talk of the town. You'll find more fashion and service than ever before. And enjoy a snack in our cafe court. Mall of the Bluffs bringing you JCPenney, Target, and now presenting our newest department store, Dillard's. Start your holiday shopping early at Mall of the Bluffs.
The talk of the town.
Odds makers made the Huskers 28-point favorites. They've improved on that 38-3, Dan.
They really have, Joe, and for all you guys that are out there watching, thinking about going to the Oklahoma State ball game, stay with us for a while longer. I guarantee you they're not going to score in the first quarter.
Coming outside is Tyrese Knox. He's at the 30. Good diving tackle, or he was gone. Jeff Dole took him out at the knees, and Tyrese is a tough guy to bring down that way. Very powerful upper body on this young man.
Starting to stick, that is the snow, as you can see on the field, as Tyrese comes to the outside, and you're exactly right. He almost broke this thing. For one guy, whoa, Joe, that almost was a clip there late, but he almost broke it.
That's Marcus Robinson. Robertson is primarily the punt run back guy. Made the stop with Dole chasing. It's 1st and 10. Huskers at the 26-yard line of the Cyclones. Hand off to Bell on the wing back around. To the 20. To the 15. Runs over the last defender and takes it down to the 1. And that's Tim Baker, who has had some kind of half for the Cyclones on a tough day for the defense, which has been on the field an awful lot of the time. Here it is.
Boy, and he really wanted to get in there, too. And again, talk about maybe it's catching, setting up blockers. Watch him setting up his blockers here. Takes the block, gets the last very good block on the outside there. Goes out, gets around, and then he rams into this guy and almost gets it into the end zone.
Number 77 is Terry Iman out of Omaha Bryan at right tackle. The backup to Doug Glazer. There's Bell's numbers. Lewis is in at fullback now. Tyrese Knox at I-back. Straight ahead, Godowski jumps in. Did he make it? Yep. Second touchdown of the year for Jerry Godowski. Well, the Huskers are well over 550 yards total offense today. 460 more than that on the ground now with that play. And only 54 seconds into the fourth and final quarter, they've jumped at the 44-3, and now Drennan is going to be the guy that tries the extra point. Berrios had made them all up till now. They're both left-footed soccer-style kickers, and Godowski will stay on the hold.
Now, of course, these are the only two kickers they brought today were Berrios and Drennan.
And Drennan puts it up, puts it through. So everything that, every attempt, I guess, has been through both ways today. Huskers go out a little further. 14 minutes plus to go, 45-3. We'll be right back live to Ames, Iowa, Nebraska and Iowa State. Huskers on top, 45-3.
Gerald Schenken's commercials promise he'll never raise your taxes. But the World Herald reports Schenken's proposals would definitely boost taxes by up to $1,000 per Nebraska family. Schenken explains his tax hike would not increase income taxes. It would merely raise payroll taxes. Well, no matter what Schenken calls it, a tax increase is a tax increase. Don't be fooled. The only candidate in this campaign to propose raising your taxes is Gerald Schenken.
Century Buick invites you to our grand opening celebration. Special grand opening prices on our entire inventory of 1989 Buicks, even the new classic Riviera and Buick Century. Fantastic discounts on all remaining 88s. Century Buick, the Midwest's newest Buick dealer, rolls out the red carpet for our customers in sales and service. Picture yourself in a Century Buick because at the new Century Buick.
Through three quarters, Huskers with 461 yards on the ground, 71 in the air, 532 total. Cyclones 32 on the ground, 38 in the air, and all of those in the third period, a total of 70 yards. First downs, Nebraska led at 26-7. And now less than a minute into the fourth period, Huskers are on the scoreboard, leading 45-3. Godowski climaxing a 7-play drive with a dive in from the 1-yard line after it was set up by a 25-yard run by Richard Bell. Berrios boots it this time to the 5. They're going to bring it back. Johnson out to the 20 on his feet, but just for a moment. Spun out of one tackle and ran into more trouble.
Yes, as you say, Godowski going into the end zone. He's the guy that deserved that touchdown after that marvelous 45-yard run he had to get him out of the hole and set it up. And Nebraska drives at 80 yards. Actually, after those penalties, they were back about 95 yards to do it. Godowski scoring for 1 yard out.
Ready to go. The Cyclones down by 42 points now. They got Derek DeGennaro in for the first time, number 19. He's been the guy on punts only. Straightens up, wants to throw it. He's a senior, comes out to the 22. He's grabbed by Pat Tarrance, the weak side linebacker.
He had a lot of playing time against Nebraska last year, of course, in that ball game, and has been played some for him this year, but has been moved down because of Oberg's success.
He had a knee injury that's been recurring. He was 8 out of 14 in the air against the Huskers a year ago. He's a 6'4", 210-pounder out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, number 19. DeGennaro, first guy to run a play since Oberg, who started the ball game and played everyone up till now. Two wideouts, open field side for the Cyclones. DeGennaro looks them over. On the draw, comes to his fullback up the middle, and Sylvester Nickerson in for his first time. He's got the first down. Nickerson is a junior from Miami, Florida. At 6 foot and 207 pounds. So Jim Walden elected to give some of his reserves a little playing time here with 13 minutes still to go in the ballgame.
Get those fresh guys in the game. They're all fired up, a little pushing and shoving, Joe. You saw at the end of the play there, but the officials choosing not to throw the flag, which is wise for everybody, of course. Good run there, though, by the fresh legs.
First down out at the 30-yard line. Cyclones on their own 30. Number 4 with his back to you is Nickerson. Comes from Miami, and he was third in the state finals with 100-yard dash. He's got some speed. First and 10 Cyclones. Again the handoff, again to Nickerson, and this time maybe yard, 2 yards in the middle. A lot of white jerseys. Tom Osborne, I think, has put the people that haven't been in up to now. Randall Jobman, the guy that normally backs up Leroy Etienne at the strong side, out of Lisco, Nebraska, in for part of the stop there, 6'3" and 230-pounder. He'll inherit that job if he can hold it next year. He's a junior. Indiana will be going through graduation, along with much of the deep secondaries. Fryer and Walker and Jackson and Custard and Hicks and Blazek, all seniors. 12 minutes. In motion to the outside is Thibodeau. They throw to him, drops the ball. He's the number 3 running back behind Warren and Peterson. Thibodeau is out of Chicago, who has 1 catch this year and almost had 2.
Joe, as you see, saw in the shot before that the stands in some areas are almost empty. Understand we got a call in the press box from a couple of local bars in Ames wondering where the signal was on what on the satellite. I think those guys are kind of gotten a crowd in there that said if they can't pirate the signal off the satellite, and they're probably watching it very comfortable in the bar, so hats off to you guys.
Thibodeau is the deep back, number 31. He was player of the year in Chicago Catholic Leagues. He gets a pitch out, goes to the right side, cuts back to the 40. He may be gone. A foot race. The 10, he's there. Paul Thibodeau, Jr. from Chicago. Showed you why. He drew enough votes to make him the player of the year in Chicago's Catholic Leagues. Got into a foot race that he won. The guy chasing him was Lorenzo Hicks. Lorenzo's been bothered a little bit with an injury, but Thibodeau's got great speed, and the Cyclones get their first touchdown.
Just as you can see on the replay here, just gets outside, gets a couple of good key blocks there, and splits about 5 Nebraska players. And as you said, Joe, Lorenzo has no chance to catch him with all these injuries, and he goes in, shows a lot of speed, good running there. What is this?
Oh, they're going to try double extra point. Okay, Cyclones go into, now they're going to shift back in. They had it spread out, now they shift back in, and Shudak apparently is going to try it. Tim Walden will show you a lot of scenes and then come up with something unexpected. But this one's up, and he's had, in his career, 33 straight. He's 16 for 16 on the year, 35-point margin. We'll be right back live to Ames, Iowa. Nebraska and Iowa State. 11:50 to go in the ball game. Huskers on top, 45-10.
Sugar Ray Leonard, the challenger, Olympic gold medalist and 3-time world champ. Tommy Lalonde, the champion, the WBC light heavyweight who won it the hard way. The motivation, not 1 but 2 championship belts in one night and a multi-million-dollar purse. Coors Extra Gold Draft presents from Caesars Palace, Leonard versus Lalonde. Monday, November 7th, live on pay-per-view. Call your local cable system now.
Cox Cable customers call 1-800-459-0101 to order.
The elections, as simple as up and down. Republicans won the White House and Senate in 1980. Look what went down. Tax rates down 25%. Interest rates down from 21% to 10%. Inflation down from 13% to 4%. Look what went up. Jobs went up, 17 million new jobs. Take-home pay up 39%. And most important of all, America is up. Keep America moving up. Vote Republican.
Everybody in the county looking for the onside kick. The Huskers have 5 men up close. The Cyclones huddled around. They're kicking from the hash mark in from the right side, as you see. Now they're going to spread out a little bit. Nebraska drops back a little bit. They're going to boot it deep. Waiting for it back at the 18-yard line. Huskers bring it back to the 25, the 30, the 35. Dana Brinson over the 35 to about the 38. Jim Walden loves to show you a lot of pictures. He was a mighty good quarterback. Player of the year, as we said earlier, for Bob Devaney when Bob was coaching at the University of Wyoming. Dave Ader made the stop that time, and Godowski is in again for the quarterback series with 11:44 to go. Huskers now with the wind at their back. Richard Bell comes wide to the right side. Tyree Stocks and Lance Lewis at I-back and fullback behind Godowski. Knox shakes off 2, and he can't get rid of everybody. Knocked out of bounds at the 37, lost about a yard.
The only thing bad about that run, Joe, is that he was knocked out of bounds. That's the only bad thing we said there. But Iowa State's playing a little more vigor here. That touchdown kind of fired them up, and their defense really came strong on that one and pushed the Nebraska blockers back, and Tyrese had no place to go.
There's Dave Ader. He's a junior from Elgin, Illinois. He was a walk-on who earned a scholarship for 22 at the right corner, and Tyrese never got a chance to build up ahead of steam. 2nd and 11, Huskers. In motion. Coming back inside as Knox, the flag flies, and Knox comes up to around the 39-yard line. Huskers had Jamie Warden from the wingback spot coming in motion. The flag flew very quickly. The tackle by Dean Ehlers.
Got a hold on Nebraska there. That guy that broke through the line, Joe, and I couldn't see exactly who it was, but one of the defensive linemen broke through, and they just had to hold him to keep him from taking the handoff. He was through so quickly.
There's our shot from the end zone camera. There you can see that.
See it here, Joe, where the guy just swim motion goes right through, and he is being being tackled is what he's been doing.
He didn't watch the coach to see that was his man when they show the film Sunday and Monday.
Good move, though, boy. He really came off the ball quickly, zipped right on in there.
Huskers have Chip Bine at split end now, and Chris Garrett is at the tight end spot. So I think everybody that made the trip to Ames has seen some action today, and the snow accumulating a little bit on the field. It's 2nd and 21. Kudowski with a fake. 35-yard line before he shoved out of bounds, right in front of the Husker bench. They would need to get to the 48-yard line to pick up the first down. Dave Ader again for the Cyclones, number 22, pushing him out as Tom Osborne going to send in the play. Godowski over talking to him since the play ended there, and that's Gregory and Bell going in.
That was Doug Edwards a while ago, number 43, that made the good move that Nebraska had to tackle him here.
Godowski averaging better than 18 yards of a long run of 46. 3 tries. 11:07 remain on the ball game. Huskers lead it by 35 points. Godowski fakes, runs, now stops, wants to throw, does, but it's incomplete. That was Morgan Gregory who had stopped and trying to come back, but Godowski, about the time he was hit, let it go, and it was nowhere near where Gregory could get to catch it. Don Edwards had the pressure on Godowski.
We've got about 400 or 500 fans right down in front of us here in front of the press box, and they're all Iowa State fans, and I think they're cheering themselves as much as they're cheering the Iowa State team. They're cheering themselves for being able to stay. Right there, Joe, and they've been raising holy heck for a little while. That gal looks like she's dressed for it with all the fur on.
4th and 14, Huskers will boot. Croker gets it away with the wind at his back, drops it around the 30, goes right on by, and John's going to get himself a big kick, and the Huskers now going to put the Cyclones in tough position inside their 5-yard line. Now they top it. They jump on it at the 5. Marcus Robertson had that one go on by and then elected not to try to recapture it. A 60-yard punt. That's the longest of the year for John. And so Iowa State with the wind in their face and down 45-10 with 10:49 to go will take over the football. There's the Husker bench. And again, most of the reserves who haven't seen that much action are going to get to finish it up in a mini blizzard at Ames, Iowa.
See the total yardage there, Joe, and the Cyclones are still way down in the total yardage, but they have the football back, and this hungry bunch of second stringers on the field again.
It was a 67-yard touchdown run that made that stat go up. Coming up the middle, Nickerson comes out to around the 10-yard line, a gain of about 5. It'll be 2nd and 5. Randall Jobman, strong side linebacker.
There's the Nebraska bench, and those guys are covered up, Joe, trying to stay warm, all sitting down, huddled up.
Keep the ball between the white lines and let the clock run. 10:21 to go. This again is DeGennaro in his 2nd series. Pitching it outside. Paul Thibodeau gets across the 10 to around the 11-12 line. 3 yards short of the first down. We're under 10 minutes left in the ball game. That's John Marco, number 93, who made the stop. John out of Bellevue, 6'1" and 220. He's a senior. Boy, that left side linebacker core is going to be wiped out by graduation. Brad Thomas, John Marco, and Kurt Brewer, all seniors.
Joe, this is the time of the ball game where you're sitting on the bench. You don't know whether you want the coach to put you in the ball game or not.
Looking in behind DeGennaro. 3rd and 3 for the Cyclones, the 12-yard line. Somebody may have moved. If they didn't, the Huskers going to draw 5. And it looks like they were pretty confident that was John Marco that jumped across.
Marco says he moved, but and that was the case. He most certainly did. And Marco jumped across and hit him, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do. As soon as that guy moves, point to the official and jump back. Look at this, Joe. These guys have got cellophane over them so they can see out. I see in one face looking through. Those are Nebraska fans that are underneath that thing.
That's determination. The issue has not been a doubt for some time. It was 31-0 Huskers at halftime. 9:22 to go, fourth quarter. Nickerson is the only back behind DeGennaro. Now he's in motion to the outside. Nobody's back there. He throws it. DeGennaro's got it. Good move. Gets him out to the 10, to around the 13-yard line before, again, Randall Jobin out of Lisco, Nebraska, brings him down. Short of the first down.
That Nickerson's quite a back. I mean, either running the ball, and that time they throw it out to him out there in the flat. He picked up a few yardage. That's quite an impressive back they've got there, Joe.
He's out of Florida, out of Miami. And they're saying more and more. It used to be that Texas and California was a hotbed for recruiting. Now they've found out that some outstanding athletes come out of Florida.
They're going to have to kick it away, though, now, Joe.
Morgan Gregory is standing back around the Iowa State 48-yard line as Johnston will stand on his goal line to kick into the wind. Good snap from center. Low driving kick away from Gregory, and Morgan's going to let it bounce. It's not a bad bounce into the wind, and a very good kick. Iowa State, they're looking around for something to be kind of happy about today. They've had a lot of opportunities to punt, but they have generally done a pretty good job, especially into the wind. That's a 44-yarder. I think there have been some with the wind today that haven't gone that far. 8:09 to go. 45-10, Huskers take over. And for the first time, Mickey Joseph, freshman from Marrero, Louisiana, is in.
Really, Joe, the main reason they've been able to get that yardage on the punts is because the guys back to receive them just are not taking any chances of picking them off unless it comes right to them.
Leotis Flowers at I-back behind Joseph. 2 freshmen. That's Flowers in his first carry, and he's up around midfield, a gain of about 7.
And this is about what you're going to see from here on in for Tom Osborne. There's a lot of stuff up the middle. He'll run the fullback, he'll run the I-back. I don't think you'll see him do anything else unless, of course, Mr. Excitement, Mickey Joseph, decides to check off at the line of scrimmage or skip out on his own. See a good block at the line of scrimmage there, and he just picks up a few yards by running over a few people at the end of that run.
This Leotis has averaged about 7 yards every time he touched the ball. That was his 30th carry of the year, and now the Huskers go offside. Jumping off was Chris Garrett, the tight end spot. They set him back 5 and stopped the clock with 7:33 to go. Well, Nebraska will come home to play their final home game of the year against Colorado. And those of you who looked in when Colorado played Oklahoma saw a heck of a ball game out in Boulder that Colorado very nearly won. It was tied near the end, and Oklahoma got the field goal to win it by 3. There's Leotis and some of the numbers on him. His 30th carry. Averages about 6.5 yards per try. He's got 1 TD. He's at the I-back spot now. Joseph gonna fade, wanted to throw. He can run. Comes up over the 50 to about the 47 of Iowa State. Mickey Joseph, highly recruited freshman out of Marrero, Louisiana, and Jeff Bauer running down. There's Mick.
Mickey puts his head down on the last little drive there. Probably picked up the first yardage. The yardage he needed for the first down. We see it here, and there's a penalty also, Joe. I think somebody grabbed a face mask as they were bringing him down. We're going to be able to pick it up, I'm sure, here on the slow motion replay. Yep, had his hand right in there at the end. Nice pickup there by the camera guys in the slow motion.
Morgan Gregory goes off to the left side. Out of your picture is a wide out to the left. That's Joseph up close. 1st and 10, 42-yard line of Iowa State. On the run, grab from behind, runs out from under it. Keeps on going. Mickey knocked out of bounds finally inside the 30. Take a look at this one and count the number of hands grabbing him as he turned the corner.
We've called him all year long Mr. Excitement, and he really is. He can get things going. He moves around the outside, and several people. Look at him on the ground camera here. There's one guy that's got a hand on him. And we come on out here again, and another guy tries to hand tackle him. He gets out of that. Mr. Swivel Hips just keeps on going, and finally the third guy does get a leg and gets him out of bounds, Joe.
Third guy was Adam Beck, the free safety. He's a sophomore out of Alexandria, Virginia. Jim Walden's gone coast to coast and border to border recruiting, it looks like. Coming outside this time is Leotis Flowers, and he maybe made a yard or two. He's just short of the 25. With 6:43 to go. If you just got here, Huskers led 31-0 at halftime. Iowa State got their points in the third quarter on a field goal and a long touchdown run, 67 yards to make it 45-10, and that's where it stayed.
And that 67 yards, Joe, is about half of their total offense for the ball game also on that one play.
2nd and 9, Joseph. One back behind him. Back to throw, runs a draw. Outside, you got to hurry to catch him if you're going to get him out there, and they did. Cyclones came on, and it was Dave Ader who was not going to have his corner turned from that right corner spot who made the stop.
Good hard tackle there, Joe. He really came up quickly and put a shoulder to him and put him down, and that's very hard to do to get that angle on Mickey Joseph. We see on the replay here, Mickey goes back like he maybe he's going to throw the ball, but we know he really isn't. It's just a quarterback draw. Could have been a head slap there as the guy went by him, but there's the good tackle as he just put him down to the ground. See it again here. Really got a hard tackle, hard smack in there.
3rd down and 9. Huskers with a big 3rd down play. Joseph runs the option, turns the corner, got the 1st down. The 5, inside the 5 to about the 3. Mickey, and the thing that he does so well, he may scoot around 3 or 4 times, but pretty soon let him turn upfield with some speed. Jeff Bauer saved the touchdown for the Cyclones, the strong safety, number 8.
Here's another guy, Joe, that really spends a lot of time in the weight room. My son, Mark Livingston, is in there a lot, too, and he says he sees Mickey in there almost every afternoon. So Mickey spends a lot of time in that weight room trying to build up at what is kind of a slender body right now.
He's 5'10" and 170. Here's the power eye. Handoff. Leotis has got the touchdown. Leotis Flowers over the left side. And the Huskers put one more on the board with 5:09 to go in the ball game.
And, Joe, that looks like it's going to send the rest of our Iowa State fans on this side of the field backing for maybe that pub downtown. Look at the Nebraska. We're going to see here the replay. Just straight up the middle. Good blocking at the point of attack. See a good block there by the fullback. Carries him all the way on into the end zone. Lewis had a good block that drove on downfield, and all Flowers had to do was just follow him right on in.
Here's Drennan to try it off of Godowski's hold. 51-10. Godowski is going to have to scramble, throws it up in the air, knocked away, and it's the first extra point of the first any kind of a kick, and actually Drennan never got a chance that time. Godowski didn't feel like he had a handle on the football and tried to scramble and loft it. Nobody was underneath it. So with 5:09 to go, it stays 51-10.
And we'll be right back, Joe, with more action from Nebraska, Iowa State after these messages with the Nebraska leading 51-10.
Our relationship with Occidental started before we got here. We had made an application with another bank in town and found out, much to our duress, that they weren't willing to work with us because we lived out of state. We have found that people have gone out of their way to be very friendly and considerate.
We're here for the trust and a long-term relationship, and we don't really have a preference when we serve the customer. We just want to serve the customer.
Customer Sandra Whiston and employee Ron Metzke. 2 more good reasons for banking at Occidental, Nebraska.
Introducing Barefoot Comfort from Carrier. Exarban Heating and Air Conditioning announces the new Carrier high-efficiency Infinity gas furnace, built for the 1990s, available from Exarban today. Exarban is your exclusive Service America dealer in Omaha. And remember, only Exarban can give you the Exarban advantage. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Buy Carrier from Exarban now and get a cashback rebate. Barefoot Comfort from Carrier and natural gas. Call Exarban today.
Kick coming. Let's check quickly with Rich Roberts at the sidelines.
A lot of the fans still here, at least the Nebraska fans are still here, I should say. Here's a guy here who's looking forward to the shutout of a couple of weeks. Breaking bones, making Switzer stew. Looking forward to the big game down in Norman in a few weeks.
There's the kick that carries to Johnson back around the 10. Gets out and may have been bumped by his own man as he crossed the 25. Ron Wilkinson was there with him, and he falls ahead to about the 28. Let's look and see.
Replay on the touchdown here, Joe, and what you can see here at the line of attack, as I said, but look at Lewis all the way into the end zone with his block there, and all Flowers had to do was just follow him in. Very good blocking at all three of the Nebraska fullbacks. They're very adept at doing it, and Lewis is going to be a guy that's going to be around for a long time, true freshman.
Doug DeGennaro stays on at quarterback, number 19. In motion is Ed Brown. Handoff up the middle, and it is Gary Peterson. Gary is a Grand Island, Nebraska freshman. His first carry of the ball game. Junior Monera, the middle guard, made the stop for the Huskers. So a lot of fellas and both sides that have not seen action are in there for the final 5 minutes, which is now down to 4 minutes and 40 seconds of playing time. Huskers 51-10. Have Colorado next week. Iowa State will have some healing to do before they get back in the Big 8 action next week. The pitch comes back. Coming outside Wilkinson at the 35-36 yard line. Ron Wilkinson is a freshman from Los Angeles who made All-City in Los Angeles, and that takes a little doing.
And he was almost stopped by a flying plastic blag before the tacklers got him there. It's really something.
Colorado knocks off Missouri 45-8, so Tigers may still be reeling from last week. That's third quarter? Fourth quarter. Fourth quarter still in. The fourth quarter they're still going.
3rd and 2 from the 36.
3rd and 2. Cyclones behind DeGennaro. Now formation this time, and that's Brown in motion. They got the flags fly. They've got enough for the first down. Let's see what the flags are about. It's Gary Peterson again.
You'd have to think that was going to be holding, Joe, in that area that they threw that flag, but we'll see. What I can't figure out is why you would throw a flag at all right now, but they did, and it was holding, Joe.
Holding against Iowa State. Peterson is a 6'2", 195-pounder who was an all-stater by both the Omaha World Herald and the Lincoln Journal-Star. Played for Kenny Fisher out there. Had 9 letters in high school, football and track and basketball. And it's Peterson right now who's still on the ground.
It looked like one of those things, Joe, where he might have got the ball directly underneath him when he hit the ground. And they're working right in that midsection area, and I bet that's what it is. And we've been, as Rich Roberts talked about before, that that football has to be a hard item right now, and to fall on it, especially with a point up at you, might be falling on a big rock right now.
Folks in Grand Island got to know that it was football and it was track and it was wrestling. He was a 190-pound state champion in '88. High school wrestling, so he's a pretty tough kid. He can take some hits. Our thanks to these folks. Dan Livingston right up here, cowardly inside the booth. There are camera crew, including the folks that are perched on top of the scoreboard in the mini blizzard.
Give them a hand, Joe.
Computer graphics and the audio from Lee Laughlin. Thank you, Greg, and thank you, Mark. Frank Laughlin. It has been a tough day to be inside with the windows open, or especially outside. And to Rich Roberts on the sideline, who braved it out. I don't think with a hat on all day, is Dr. Tom Osborne. Sports Video Productions of 1988 has been happy to bring this into you. I'm glad you could, some of you at least, stay home and take a look at it, because today was not the day you wanted to be out either on the highways or in the stands at Ames, Iowa, and I presume all over the Channel 3 area.
Most certainly, Joe.
Third and 12. Third down and 12 to go. DeGennaro. On the draw play, gives it to Nickerson. Comes across the 35 to almost the 40-yard line.
Joe, I'd like to thank one other group of people, as the people have sent home, hopefully with the fire going, maybe something liquid in their hand to watch this ball game. The guys that really deserve a pat on the back are all those guys that are advertised in this ball game. All the people that those commercials you saw go by, we really need their support, and we've gotten into this particular instance to bring Nebraska football to you, whether it be a home or away.
1st and 10, Iowa State, just short of their own 40-yard line. Got Johnson in motion to the outside. They throw it out there. It is complete. It's Wilkinson, and he is knocked out of bounds. Wilkinson, number 32, knocked out by Mark Hagee, another Creighton prepster from Omaha, running at the strong side linebacker spot. And some of those numbers are getting a little bit tough to see, and as you can see, the snow is accumulating on the field. There's Iowa State. The offensive coordinator sending in the signals. We're down to 2:54 to go.
And you mentioned Creighton Prep and Mark Hagee there. Creighton Prep will be going for their 4th consecutive championship. And Joe, you and I will be working that ball game later, as they say on another channel.
2nd and 4 for the Cyclones. 46-yard line. Running for his life, DeGennaro wants to throw it. Does throw it, incomplete. Mike Bush was a guy that was about 5 yards in front of him, and probably the smartest thing that he did was not catch the football. It might have been a little bit more of a loss than the incomplete. Dan Svela and Pat Terrance were the two guys doing the chasing. Svela is that right outside linebacker out of Clarkson, Nebraska. Terrance, of course, out of Millard North. Both sophomores.
A lot of those Nebraska, especially Omaha Prep players, have come to Iowa State.
Take a timeout. Well, today was a day short of being an ideal football day. All over the Channel 3 area, we were thinking, hey, if today was the day, we would not have to brave snow and possible slippery conditions on the highway and the troop over. And this could have been Iowa State's, I think, biggest crowd of the year. They've had 41, 42, 43, and 46,000 for their games up to today. They were thinking 50,000. That's just exactly what Jack Tice Stadium will hold.
It was a sellout, Joe. I think they had all the tickets sold. And when we started this ball game, there were probably about 40-some thousand people here. It was almost full. But it didn't take but about 31 Nebraska points to start emptying the stands out. And as I mentioned before, down into those pubs, down into Ames, and catch the rest of the broadcast via satellite. But as you can see, it is almost emptied out now. But a few Nebraska fans left. Both bands and all the cheerleaders are still here. So what the heck? We'll keep on playing until it's over.
Iowa State's got Kansas State next week. Ready to go now. 4th down and 4. They're going to go for it. Throwing 46. They need 4 yards or they'll give up possession. DeGennaro hands it off. Wilkinson runs outside. He needs to get to midfield, and I believe he did. Cyclones will keep the football as he crosses midfield to about the Nebraska 40, 48? Yep. It is Huskers will go 5-0 in the conference. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State pending the outcome of that one. The Sooners could be tied with them. Oklahoma State in second place, the only team with only one loss going into today's action. Colorado looks like they're home. Iowa State will go 2-3, and Missouri will go 1-4. The two Kansas teams without a victory this year playing each other. Somebody's going to get one unless it's a tie. 1st and 10, Cyclones. DeGennaro rolls right. Gets chased, throws it. Woo-hoo, no catch. That would have been one of the great catches of this day or any other. It's Craig Mahoney up there. And in this weather, at that altitude, with his legs being taken out from under him, if he had held onto that one, get a medal. Here it is. Look at him.
Here it is on the replay, and he really goes up. And just at the point of his jump, he gets his feet taken out from under him. And my goodness, right down there. Oh, right on top of his head, Joe. That was really a hit there by Sanders.
Marvin Sanders is a junior out of Markham, Illinois at the safety spot. He's a backup to Tim Jackson. He'll pick up that job next year if he can hold it. With 2:04 to go. 51-10 Nebraska, 31-0 at halftime, Huskers. DeGennaro, long count, goes back to throw, gets chased, gets away for a moment, and finally throws it complete to Nickerson. That's the 40, that's the 35. He's down almost to the 30-yard line. John Custard might have saved the touchdown, the Cyclones' second. And that was a pretty good scrambling run by Sylvester Nickerson out of Miami, Florida. There he is, number 4. 6 foot, 207-pounder. Here it is again.
Yeah, sit on the replay, Joe, here, and he just gets by a ton of people. He could have fumbled this ball awful easy. He looks like a matador giving up people there and just kind of side-armed it, got it downfield, and there, another good run. It's pretty slick out there on the field right now, and he made some awful sharp cuts.
1st and 10 Cyclones at the 30-yard line of Nebraska, open field left side. They've got 2 flankers that way. Pitch goes to the short side, and it's Wilkinson. Not much. Maybe the 29.
See another plastic bag slide back there,
yeah,
Joe.
All over the place.
I hope there's not a lost child in that plastic bag, Joe. This is something.
Ray Valado, the Huskers made the stop. Ray was a starting tackle at that left side. That ball game against Texas A&M in the kickoff classic, was injured. Never could get the job back. Billy Griffin. On the sideline. Right along.
Of course, you can't have 2 men in motion at one time. And they had 2 guys moving there. One guy was moving in motion to the sideline, and another guy was resetting. But the officials just didn't choose to call that penalty.
Only in Canadian football. And Jim Walden played a couple of years after he got out of Wyoming. He played for British Columbia and for Calgary as quarterback before coming on to the coaching. He was 3 years at Nebraska as an assistant when the Huskers won their 2 national titles. Open field left side. Nickerson goes in motion away from there. DeGennaro has no backs behind him. Gets rushing, gets caught. Wait a minute. Flag had already stopped the play.
I think they had movement in the line there, Joe. Somebody raised up before the ball was snapped. And that'll go against Iowa State, I'm pretty sure.
There's the illegal procedure call against the Cyclones. Here it is. You can see him move just off the left of your screen.
And up at the right, too, Joe, both guys got up. So there probably was a little mistake there by the center who didn't snap it on the proper count, which pulled everybody else off.
Huskers were moving, and it looked like the tackle of Iowa State may have jumped up, although he didn't have to. 63 yards in penalties against the Huskers, a little bit more than the Cyclones. 46 seconds only remain on the ball game. On the draw, Nickerson goes to the line of scrimmage, and that was about it. Over the 35, maybe the 34.
Quit messing around. Throw this thing into the end zone, Joe.
See if the Cyclones want to get one more play away. Dan Savela made the stop. We're 87, and the clock is down to 25 seconds remaining in the ball game. We'll say a quick so long. Thank you for looking in today. There's the clock showing you the time remaining. DeGennaro with Wilkinson in motion to the open field side. Looks the other way. Throws it on a look-in pass. Iowa State down to the 10, the 5. Touchdown.